Hello, everyone, and welcome to the official Action RPG live stream. My name is Aaron, owner and operator of the YouTube channel Action RPG. And today is the nice, calm, relaxing stream. No yelling. No getting upset. No elevating my heart rate. We're just going to relax and talk about Last Epoch and POE 2. Until people rage about POE 2, what? Nothing's happening anytime soon. Chat will be fine, right? What? It's only calm till you see what Rax did. What? Relax. Give it 5 minutes into stream and fun will start. What? Future game show is on. Hey, Aaron, why didn't you use the new unique idol in the Dragon Raptor build? Because that limits you to one raptor. You can only use one raptor. Passive aggressive? No. Tomorrow is Last Epoch Season 3, Beneath Ancient Skies, Subathon 4. And yeah, today we're just testing things and making sure everything is good for that event, and watching some POE 2, maybe a little theory crafting for LE, and then we're going to call it an early stream. Normally, the day before a subathon, I only stream for an hour. It's literally like a technical stream. But for some reason, the POE 2 stream doesn't start for 2 hours and 15 minutes, and then I got to watch that whole thing. What the hell? What the hell? Why am I even live right now? Because you're excited for POE 2. Danny, what's up? Good to see you. Starts in an hour and 15 minutes. Is that true? Does it start at 1? Oh, that's way better. Yeah. See, that's what I meant. Because you missed us. Yes, it's practice subathon. That's right. Okay, let's walk through today. Today I'm going to theory craft a little bit of Cold Scorpion Shaman. All right, Cold Scorpion Shaman. We're going to watch the POE 2.3 Third Edict live stream. And then I'm going to go get in bed until the subathon. That's not true. I still got a couple things I need to do. But for the most part, it's ready. Hey, you guys are going to love this. Huh? Who's talking crap now? Let's look at the new nature camera. Huh? We've got the feeder. I lowered the brightness level. We mowed and edged and weeded. You see that? Guys? Huh? The weeds are gone. It's adequate. What? Wow, you cut your grass. Where did the weeds go? Okay, don't get upset. Okay. Look, a squirrel! Look, a squirrel! So the fence is good. The fence is ready. The clock is good. Set up already with the time extensions with pause. The subathon extensions in and ready. So we got the fence ready, extensions ready, clock ready. We're good. Look, it's a fence. Oh, brother. Everybody, if you are unaware, if you're unaware, in 21 hours and 12 minutes. Season 3 of Last Epoch, Beneath Ancient Skies, kicks off. Subathon will kick off probably, I don't know, 90 minutes before then. For me, it's 10 a.m. I walk my daughter to the bus at 8:30. And it'll literally be take my daughter to the bus, give her a hug, and then kick off the event. So that's tomorrow. I think your fence build would be better with Shattered Worlds, you think? Are the servers ready? Muffin says they're ready. I didn't even say hi to everybody. All right, let's start with some highs. There's a lot of chatter. Spidey, Trevor, West Toxic, VC, hello. Mr. Exatheus, Doc, Tekken, N64, Zuvik, hello. Who else is here? Kevin, hello. Jergy, Anger, Strat, Brow, hi. Let the POE gaslighting begin. Brow's already here. He's already talking about POE. Oh, Cyber, REI, hello. Sombrero, what up? Big Guy, Guilty, hi. What's up? Marek, yo. Danny, good to see you. Revoke, hi. Bull, yo. Ghost, the Feeder, you like it? All Haven Games, what's up? Sammy, hi. Commander Keen, hi. Who else is here today? ZA, what up? Mike, hello. Fence is not core. Patriot, hi. Farva. Does that look like spit? What up? Not sure if I even care about the PO2 reveal. Sometimes people get mad at me for even watching the stuff, which I find very silly. We watch all the Diablo 4 campfires. We watch the Torchlight Infinite reveals. We watch the Last Epoch stuff. We might not play everything evenly, but I do care to stay in the know. So we will watch it. Little Zen Buddha, good morning. Is it morning for you? I am officially in afternoon. Are they revealing the big patch for PoE? Yep, in 1 hour. Yes, I play on the server, the season server, yes. Fence is definitely core. Kaiser, what up? Definitely got to know what's going on. That's right. PoE 2 needs like a 50% movement buff. There was only one thing I caught from like all the leaked info. I was on Talkative Try's stream for, I'm not kidding, I don't know, 5 minutes yesterday. And he was talking about one of the leaks where like if you hit spacebar and hold it, you sprint. But if you get hit while holding spacebar, you fall over. And I'm literally sitting at my computer by myself in the dark editing a video, and I start laughing at the top of my lungs out loud. I was like, there is no way that is real. There's no way. I'm literally dying laughing, and I just clicked off. I was like, no way. So you hit evade, and then you have to hold spacebar to sprint. And then if you get hit, you fall over, like actually your character falls over. I was like, no way. I don't believe it. I have to see that on the official stream to believe it. There's no way. There's no way. Oh my, I will die if that is real. I will die. No, I mean, I don't know. That's just what he said. They could have just bumped walk speed up by 20% and everyone would have clapped. I mean, I'm not going to jump to conclusions unless we make a jump to conclusions, Matt. See, there's different conclusions that you jump to. You think the pad rock was a good idea? You made it just in time for a bad pun. What? YouTube in Kickland. Hoofprint, what up? Brandon, hello. Rodriel? Hello. Trent, what up? Gaming, hi. T-Rex has 70% less damage coded into it. Is it still viable to use as a main damage companion? I do not think so. I do not think you could play a strictly T-Rex build. I'd be shocked. Maybe. I mean, literally, if you get like 100 to all attributes or something insane. No, I don't think so. Oh, and you can't have T-Rex and frogs, you know. Tucker, hello. Factor, hi. Matthew, hi. I think your fence build. Oh, I already read the fence build. Bob, what up? You're late. Vent, hello, sir. Will you make an updated video on the shield throw paladin? Do you have a max roll guide or something for it? I do not use the website known as Max Roll. I am the owner of actionrpg.com. If you go over to actionrpg.com, click on Last Epic, and you click on Sentinel, and you click on Forge Guard, and you find Shield Throw Forge Guard. This is fully up to date as of this second, but obviously this will... Actually, it'll still be very up to date tomorrow because there's practically no changes to Forge Guard in any way. But, yeah. That is the build. Are you making a werebear bear build? Jonathan, we talked about a brother bear. We would call it brother bear. And I'm going to try and be very strategic. So on actionrpg.com, there's 37 different build guides. And a lot of them are owned by different writers. But I really want to strategically play like the actual new stuff, right? T-Rex, frogs, earthquake bear. Like, play obviously the new stuff and have fun. And then I want to go through and actually update all the builds. I hate always playing catch up. So that's the plan. Build-A-Bear. Yeah, we call it Build-A-Bear. Aaron, do you think Stygian Coal Lich is going to get worse or better? I mean, there's no way it's going to get worse because you now have access to the new pretty Lich passive tree. I don't see how any current Lich build could get worse unless they're using some broken snapshotting mechanics of some kind. I'm going with your shield throw Captain America build. I love that. It's a lot of fun. It's 1,000 corruption build. Build an earthquake bear. An earthquake bear. Red Wolf, thanks for the subs. You know the subathon hasn't started yet, right? Smite Meteor Paladin. Judd told me to collab with you on this theory craft. I believe you. Snapshotting no longer exists, so it can't be. Exactly, that's what I'm saying. So unless something in Lich was using a broken, bugged mechanic, that would be the only way it would get worse, is what I'm saying. I don't have access to bells anymore because of the copyright claims through YouTube. Here at Action RPG, if there's ever a level 2 hype train, the polka must flow until the hype train is over. I'll give you the most annoying polka in the world first. You've been warned. You should leave the stream now. Come back later. You should leave now. You've been warned. All right, you're still here. You're in for it. Enjoy. We're going to listen to this for 21 hours straight. So just get ready. He said it, now make it happen. What? What are you, insane? Nobody wants to listen to that. Right? Stream, let's go. What are you guys, crazy? Brandon, you ain't winning the treasure hunt. I'm winning it. $50 if you keep it going for 21 hours. Xathius wants some fresh polka. Here you go. How many tracks do I have? 74 tracks of polka. Here, let's pick another new one. Ready for the Subathon. It's impossible to be ready for a Subathon. But I do have this ready. I saw a bug. Guys, I saw a bug. I saw it. Come on. Something alive. Do something. Come on. It's supposed to be a nature camera. There's a big weed on the right-hand side, on the other side of the fence that's moving in the wind. That counts. You see it? That counts as nature moving. It counts. Right? It's fake AI. Better pull out. I think it's a weed. Some kind of berry bush. Trees on the left are moving too. See? That all counts as live stuff. We're the stupid squirrels. N64, thank you for the 5 subs. Thank you, sir. You guys. We just can't listen to polka until the POE 2 stream. I'm supposed to be theory crafting. Sure we can't. What? Polka's life. I vote for during it. This polka's never gonna end. All right, while you guys are listening to your polka, if you're new here, just so you know, I can't turn it off until the hype train is over. So just, if you're wondering what the hell's going on, that's, you could ask The inmates, they took over the asylum. I don't want to turn off the polka. I like it. The songs give me a headache. I didn't realize how much I was in the mood for polka. Oh, bro. I really like swing polka. I got you. Request accepted. Swing polka. Determine what swing. It's literally called swing polka. It's called swing the polka. We are at a level 4 hype train. Thanks, Red Wolf. Giving Disneyland Maine vibes. I'm so excited for tomorrow, I could pee my pants. You guys, today is a nice, relaxing stream. We're just relaxing. Oh, gosh. I'm all hyped up on that syrup. Starter, yeah. Season kicks off in under 21 hours. I can't relax. You're gonna make me watch POE. That's right. And guess what? You're gonna like it. What do you think of that? No, really. What do you think of it? I think you're wrong. Can I play offline right now? It's not working. I don't know. Hey, Nash. I don't know how you expect us to relax with season start just around the corner. Offline works, you just have to specify it. There you go. polka continues. It's been a long hype train.
Aaron, Polka King of the Midwest.
Barba, thank you for the 5 gifted subs. You guys, I cannot turn off this music. It won't turn off until the hype train ends. I'm getting prepared for tomorrow. The subathon starts tomorrow. Oh, don't get upset. Don't get upset. Thanks, guys. You're not getting upset today. Gamer play the bill. Forge Guard summons with them. Harmony of the Fist. You can play that. Sure. Barva gifted 5 subs to keep the hype train going. In response to that, he has requested his own polka song, which I think is this.
Out in the wild with his sword in hand, Aaron's crafting legendaries in the shifting sands, fights the monolith one boss at a time. Spins the wheel of fate, oh the drops are fine. Swing to the left, now bash to the right. Chasing the echoes under moonlight. Treasure unfound, Aaron fights on. In the last epoch till the break of dawn. A forge ablaze, his gear shines so bright. Skill tree grows strong, he's set for the fight. He leaps through eras with passion and flair, binding shards of a world we can't repair. Swing to the left, now bash to the right. Chasing the echoes under moonlight. Treasure
No, Barva made this song and gifted run a level 5 hype train. My wife's like, what? Yes, they know the subathon starts tomorrow. Going nuts already. It's just my factor meal. Look at that.
From loot explosions to crafted delight, dreams forged in flames, they ignite the night. Action-packed loops bring a joyful spree, gaming adventures for eternity. Swing to the left, now bash to the right. Chasing the echoes under moonlight. Treasure unfound, Aaron fights on. Let's go chat, polka pop till the break of dawn.
I legit have no idea what meal this one is, Anger. Chicken, green beans, potatoes with gravy? I bet he didn't event order it. Well, the wife warmed it up, and I was gonna go warm it up, but then she had already warmed it up. Okay, can I now theory craft? You guys, they won't let me turn off the polka. N64, thank you for the 5 subs. We're now level 6. Polka until Subathon starts. They finally lost it. It took them a while. They finally fell off the edge. I have a feeling this will not end. New season starts in 20 hours. 20 hours. The polka will last until the morale and until the subathon is over. I mean, until the hype train is over. Which caster.build do you recommend? I've tried going Lightning Blast, Ladle, and Brewmaster. It wasn't great. Warlock, you're playing the wrong class. Dot caster, you play Warlock. And it's very pretty. Cheers, you're very welcome. All right, guys. Hello. Uh-oh. I clicked one and it has a weird beginning. We have 70 new polka tracks. Well, this is what you get. I don't know what the hell it is. Can't even hear it. Did you hear about Wolfson news today? No, send me a link. I know they're at Gamescom. Gamescom was so bad yesterday. Opening night was horrible. When does the polka end? It won't end until the hype train is over. Believe it or not, Twitch over there is What's the correct word for it? Yep. The hype train is officially over. Level 6. Thank you all for your donations. Holy smokes. Level 6 hype train. That was a solid 35 minutes of polka. Wait, how long was that? Oh my gosh. It was actually a good little, he was worried there. That was a good little reminder of what tomorrow's likely going to be like. Any good marksman builds for season 3? Marksman's practically unchanged. Some people are talking about the new primordial bow that echoes. Aaron, you build an EQ bear? Yes. If you go to YouTube, it's my cocaine bear. Actually, you can go right here. What did I do? Exclamation point build. Look at this. LE Season 3 starter. Dude, I'm so prepared. It's insane. Wait, is this right? Yeah, updated EQ werebear. Cocaine Bear 2.0. Mm-hmm. I did something right. I did that. Okay, can somebody do a quick time check for me? Is it true? Just double checking. Path of Exile 2's live stream is in 40 minutes, 40. Is that correct? Is that right? 38 minutes. Okay, perfect. Perfect. Don't forget you have a POE song. Maps keep dropping in the red. That's true. Correct. Okay, perfect. Yeah, I'm a bit disappointed there's nothing for marksman. I know. What do you mean it doesn't matter? You guys, if that leak is true, I don't know what I'm going to say. There was some leaks on POE 2, and last night I was literally on Talkative Try's stream for 5 minutes. He was doing some podcast with somebody I didn't recognize, and the leak is, again, just a leak. I personally do not believe it. I don't believe it. The leak is that a lot of people complain about movement speed in Path of Exile 2. The game's slow. And what they're saying is that a way they are addressing movement speed, just a leak, we'll find out in 40 minutes, is when you hit spacebar to evade. If you hold spacebar after evade, you start sprinting. And it's an infinite sprint. So you could sprint as long as you're holding spacebar. But if you take damage while sprinting, your character falls over onto the ground. There's just no way that's in the game. I don't believe it. No way. Wait, what? Again, it's just a rumor. It's just a rumor. It's just a rumor. So you will find out in, 35 minutes. I know it seems far-fetched. That's literally why I'm saying it's just a rumor. Okay? And POE is now live, so I've got it up just so everybody's aware. So 35 minutes until the live stream. All right. While I eat lunch, let's see if we have something we could watch. Nice mechanic. What rumor? I just got back. The new sprinting rumor. Okay, guys, I don't like eating in silence. It's kind of weird when you guys just sit there and watch me eat. So we're going to watch a video for 5 minutes while I eat. This is Rax's thoughts. Oh, you guys are going to hate me on Diablo 4 Season 10. It's just the first thing I see. It'll only be for 5 minutes. Today you get Last Epoch, D4, and POE 2.
TR kicked off today, and what we saw earlier is I think this patch is significantly better than the other one.
I'm not watching. I'm doing more with my filter. Puke. Don't puke. Don't puke. Puke. That's a funny word. Can I use that?
Where they're actually trying to completely redo some of the game modes and make some of the balance changes and add some theory crafting to the game. A step in the right direction. So I played it for about 3 hours today. I want to take you through all of my feedback and just see what we have real quick after a word from today's sponsor. Guys, today's video is sponsored by Rocket Money. I first downloaded the Rocket Money app about 5 months ago. And after logging in, one of the first things that I noticed is there was a nearly $200 annual subscription that I needed to cancel.
Rocket Money, baby.
A few clicks on the app later, and it was gone. Then I started looking at its breakdown of some of my other subscriptions, and while I meant to have the other ones, a lot of them had risen in price over the years, and this is another feature that the app has that can help you lower your bills. So I used that feature, and it lowered some of the cost of some of my recurring monthly subscriptions by a pretty significant amount, more than I thought it would. So besides that, Rocket Money can also help you budget and plan for future goals, among other things. So if you'd like to try Rocket Money, you can download it for free right now at the link below and see how much you can save. I'd like to thank Rocket Money for sponsoring this video, and now let's get back to it. All right, so among other things, there's a lot of other things in the patch, but the meat and potatoes of the entire thing is they are redoing Infernal Hordes. And they're doing two different things here. First of all, they're redoing the actual hordes, which you can see there's some different options right here in front of you. And they're also having a baby version of the Infernal Hordes called Fleeting Hordes, which you can run to level up and get gear pretty much away so you don't have to do the campaign. And they also added last season doing the earlier nightmare dungeons for leveling up, just giving you more different options. So the first thing I did was I tried the Fleeting Hordes, and it probably would have been better if I had tried it with a low level character, but instead I slapped together the quickest Hydra sorcerer I possibly could and went in here. I guess it should be a full disclaimer here. The gear here is quite good. It's not perfect by any means. I just took whatever masterworks I got. I just threw some temperings on there and things like that. But I would still say that this character's gear is probably going to be far superior to whatever you're going to see from let's say a standard build. But when I did the Fleeting Hordes, it did seem like a good option for leveling. For example, when you got to the end of the 4 waves, one of the options that you could pick was a chest that looked like it just gave you a ton of XP. So that's obviously one of the most valuable rewards you can get while leveling. So that was nice. But one thing that didn't really seem to function so well in the Fleeting Hordes was your ability to stack rewards. When you only get 4 waves, you really don't get anything going. And I only finished with 53 ether at the end of the run. And the big chest to get a bunch of rewards cost 100. So I went in with a T4 caliber character into this leveling thing, and I didn't even get half of the required ether to open a single chest. Now, maybe this was because I didn't get any of the special portals, or maybe I had a bad strategy, but that's something that Blizzard might want to look into, because otherwise I just ran straight for the XP chest and bought that. Now we get into the real game mode, the Infernal Hordes. So The one thing that I really like about the Infernal Hordes, which you might see here, is they added the option for Chaos Portals. And when you get a Chaos Portal, it gives you something completely different, usually something more challenging for a much greater reward. Right there, the Chaotic Offering there on the left. And then, so you're not exactly sure what you're going to get.
Are you guys excited for Diablo 4 Season 10? These updates to Infernal Hordes? Are we happy with this?
But it seems to be very, very worth it, to the point where every time it spawns, it is something that you will choose. One of the best things that you can get is just a billion treasure goblins spawning for like, I don't know, 1 to 2 straight minutes. And the amount of ether that you get from that is far and away better than anything else. My piece of feedback here, which I'll get into later, something that I kind of wish they had did a little bit more, is they're moving in the right direction for Infernal Hordes. They're trying to essentially enable you to make a strategy or a full build within here for getting the rewards. But for a couple of different reasons, like for how the Chaos Portals spawn and how they're tuned, it doesn't quite work with this version that I played with. I'll get more into that in a second. Some of the choices that they made, although the choices are better, are a little bit strange. For example, one of them is spires. The little spires spawn less often, but they give you more rewards. So it's okay. Let's think about that. If you want spires, if you're making your strategy off of spires, then spawning them less frequently hurts you. Yes, it's offset by it gives you more rewards, but for example, some of the other powers that go into spires are things like the enemies that you kill within the circle give you 1 ether each. So it's spawning less frequently kind of negates your ability to kind of stack them and make a really cool like strategy and build out of it. The other way you can think about it is, let's say you're building a different strategy around masses for this run, for example, and then you want to pick this so you don't get the spires. You don't want them to spawn, and so you pick it just so they're less frequent. Hopefully you get more of the other things. Then the secondary bonus there becomes useless. The fact that they give you more ether when they do spawn doesn't synergize with what you're doing either. And it's not like every single choice needs to be perfect, but as I was sitting there trying to strategize for it was kind of difficult for me again to make a full strategy out of the options that they had given me, which is the direction that I think that they're trying to go in. Another thing is, if you remember one of the old powers, a powerful demon emerges and it gives you 75 ether if you kill him. Fine. So I clicked it and it was the same burning butcher every single time, even on multiple runs. It's always the same burning butcher. I wish they would change.
I don't want to cut off Rex. I'm done eating. As I'm theory crafting this new Cold Scorpion Avalanche Maelstrom, we'll continue watching this. As we are waiting, we have 28 minutes until Path of Exile reveal.
Change that up a bit. That would make it a lot more interesting. But another thing, like with some of the other abilities, or some of the other choices, like the masses and some of the spires, they could have made this into a build as well. Like on wave 1 or 2, if you get the powerful demon is hunting you, and then maybe it's the butcher, or maybe it's a vampire or whatever. Then, and even more powerful demons are on your scent. Then maybe it spawns a few bosses, and then maybe if you keep getting it, maybe it spawns Lilith and she gives you 500 ether. There could have been a progression there. I think that might have been a bit of a missed opportunity, something further that they could go with rather than just
it's over, Trevor. You missed it.
It's always the burning butcher kind of thing. I did the Bartok fight. I accidentally killed him even on Torment 4. My Hydras running around here, and again, I don't have perfect gear at all. Some of my Hydras were hitting for like 7 or 8 billion a hit with one fireball. So, you know, with we know that the balancing still isn't there. But one of the times that I fought Bartek, I just killed him instantly. And I didn't even get to fight him. So then I took off all the skills.
He's
I
a
took off all the
garbage
skills on my
disposal,
bar. Let me
me.
get rid of this stupid message down here. I took off all the skills on my bar, and I fought him for a while. And I think the design of the boss is better than a lot of the other boss designs that we have had. He has some mechanics. There's some stuff with the environment that you can do, to fight him better and things like that. There is a bit of a strategy to it. And I think it will be challenging for some people. Some people, well, by the way, here's all the goblins. Look at this. Look how much ether is spread everywhere, all over the floor here. This is why these chaos portals are so amazing. You just have like a minute or two just to kill as many goblins as you possibly can. But I think they did a decent job with the Bartek fight. It's a little bit simple, but it's not supposed to be like a pinnacle boss, so better than what I've seen. And so now I think would be a good time to talk about the builds. So one more random piece of feedback here that I want to share after I pick up all this ether that you can see as I move to the middle. I'm going to pause it here. I played some other roguelikes lately, and one thing that almost all of them universally offer is when you're making your choices, they give you some kind of UI or some kind of pop-up or anything to actually compare the choices and make your decision. You want to know what you get here? You get the name of it. I moused over this one, but the transitive spires. Do you know what that is? And the answer is, for 99% of you, is no. You have to mouse over it, read it, memorize it, and at a certain point, if you ran enough of these, if Diablo 4 is your favorite game and you're blasting it all the time, you will memorize just from the name what it does. But
This was my drive to work audio. I thought I left the live stream for a second. We're having a nice and relaxing calm before tomorrow's storm, Groovy. You want to look at the fence? Beautiful, Clark. Oh, here we go. What? We're just letting Rax finish his D4 video. Talking about, did you repaint it? No. It's actually funny. Hold on. Oh, you can't. You can only see it when it's dark. You can see the outline of like the Punisher logo that my wife drew when the light hits it right. Fence is ready for tomorrow. All right, let Rax finish.
most people will not have that memorized. I don't have it memorized because they just changed all of the powers. So I would love a UI that when we're making our choices, something that lets me compare the three choices a little bit easier. I know that takes away from the fantasy of walking over to the actual little pillar here or whatever, but I would love to be able to make a more informed decision without walking over here, mousing over it, walking over here, mousing over it. Okay, what was the other one? All right, now walk over here, mouse over it. Okay, which was the best of the three? It's a lot easier if we had just had a way where we could just see what our choices are. But now let's go to a super advanced program called Paint. And let me tell you, again, I think one of the problems here. So there's a bunch of different things that you can buff. Let's say you can buff the spires, and you can buff the masses, and you can spawn the Hellborn, and there's
Paint,
stuff with
that's right.
There's generic stuff with like, I don't know, the Aether Fiends or the Aether bosses, and there's also the bosses, the demons, and then there's also chaos over here, right? The chaos portals. So we have 10 waves in the regular infernal hordes. So the way that I would imagine this, and the way that I see Blizzard trying to do this, is they're trying to give you some more interesting choices that kind of stack up on these different mechanics. So each run might be a little bit different. Like Maybe in run 1 you get all the spire stuff, and in run 2 you get most of the mass stuff, and you have like, you know, different gameplay there, but hopefully the ether at the end is you know, it kind of balances out, and they're all valuable. But this is I'm unable to do this effectively. Now here's why. There's a couple of reasons. First thing, let's talk about the first thing I talked about at the beginning, which is the chaos portals. Whenever a chaos rift comes up, unless I'm missing something, you always have to choose this because it has a chance to give you the goblins. If you get the goblins, you get so much ether that's gonna outweigh like any reward at any tier for any of these that I was able to see. And these spawn pretty often. Like I think I had one run where out of the 10 waves, it was 4 of them. And that's really cool. It's giving me a lot of ether. I like doing the chaos waves more than the other ones, but it really kind of dilutes or takes away from the entire idea of building a strategy. So there's a couple of different ways you could do this. You could make this more scarce. You could give the chaos thing its own build, like each one that you gather over and over and over has some mechanic that changes it or makes it harder, or maybe there's different tiers of the chaos rifts that you get or something like that. And I'm sorry, I just have so many ideas. So then another thing is like the bank of how many of these things that you seem to be able to get is not that many. Like spires, I saw the one where they spawn less
fall
often.
asleep. It's almost
they
POE time. It starts
ether,
in 20 minutes.
I don't really understand.
Yeah, this video's only 5 more minutes long.
I don't even know if
we're learning about the chaos stuff, guys.
Want that for if I'm stacking spires, and that wouldn't be my first choice if I was doing anything else either. So I'm not really sure.
You guys, I know we're on the eve of season 3 of Last Epoch, but I thought it would be good to watch a 20-minute video from Rax on Diablo 4 into a 2-hour stream on POE 2. Like, what do you think that's a bad idea?
Why I would ever pick that one. And then there's you get a 1 ether for every monster kill within the zone. That one's really good because it's hard to get them in the zone. And then you added another one, which is amazing, which is like all kill.
Wait, is Twitch not working? Are we okay? Why is Rax spending the entire video on Infernal Hordes? I don't know. Wait, how long is the PoE 2 reveal? I actually don't know. What is it, normally an hour? And then Ziggy D after? Okay, so that's Twitch, not us. Is it lagging?
Count as within the zone. So that's amazing. So if you get these two together and you're spawning spires all the time, now I feel good about it. I've made a strategy on this particular run. I got these choices. I made a good little build here, and I'm pumping. I like that. But with how frequently these chaos things spawn, first of all, there aren't that many choices, and you're taking away out of my 10 choices. I'm losing
That's what you do as a streamer
quite
when
a
it
few
goes
of
down.
them every run. So you could either make chaos portals.
Aaron, what's the plan for LE this season? I love last season's Cocaine Bear. I know. We're doing Cocaine Bear 2.0. So we're doing Earthquake Cocaine Bear into Frog Mania, into Scorpion, into Dragon Raptors, into Golem Mancer. Or whatever items drop.
Have their own progression to it. You could make chaos portals when you select them. Also, let you select one of these. You get one of the bonuses that just applies, and you go forward. That way, you feel less bad about picking the chaos thing, and you're still making a build. But I think we need more choices here. And for some of these, they don't even have choices. For example, the bosses. It's always just a demon attacks you for 75 ether, and it's always the the Burning Butcher. I did it like 3 or 4 times. It was the same thing every time. So if there's a different variant, I didn't see it. The generic things could be really good as well to supplement the other things, the generic choices. When you just don't get, don't just get like 10 bonuses of masses. So to summarize this without rambling too much, without going too deep into this, I think you've done better. I think this is way better than the old Infernal Hordes. It's got some different things to it. The different Chaos Waves are really good. The Chaos Waves are random and they're very rewarding. The Bartuk fight, I think, is cool. It's a cool, different option. He dropped really good loot. It was rewarding to kill him. All of that is great. I just think we need to think a little bit more about what does an ideal Spire run look like, and what really cool 6 or 7 things would I get for it? What generic ideas do you have? For example, masses can no longer spawn bonus ether to all other things. If you got that at like round 1, then you're cooking, and then all of a sudden you would eliminate the mass choices and things would be easier going forward. Yada, yada, yada. I've got a million ideas. I don't want to sit here and ramble for a million years. It's better. I saw some of the different. All
right, we gave Rax 18 minutes. I'm gonna give him a like and share out this video. For a second, I legit forgot I was streaming. Okay, here's the link to Rax's video. Bam. I know they're live. I know. Thank you, Rax. I've already got their stream prepped and ready. See? 13 minutes until POE. Here, we'll even listen to their music in the background. 12 minutes. All right, so come on, guys. Are we excited about Diablo 4 season 10 now? Vampire powers? Are we happy now? Did you guys heard everything? No. 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 Perks? I don't hate it, just not excited. I'm so excited. Sorry, too busy figuring out Auto Bomber Lich. Puke, screw D4. Don't burn yourself out before the subathon. I'm not. I think. Maybe we go regular health. Meh on D4. All right, everybody. So let me just, I mean, I haven't even really started thinking about this. I mean, well, today I started thinking about it a little bit. Ultimately, the new Scorpion is very cool. Why? Because it can auto-trigger 2 different skills. So 1, you can make the Scorpion, of course, cold. You can trigger Maelstrom, which is cold. And you can auto-trigger Avalanche. You guessed it, which you could turn cold. So your Scorpion is running around using your Maelstroms and your Avalanche. It's a monster. What is great too is it's a cold minion, which means it can use these 3 nodes. So you're going to convert Warcry to also cold. You're going to give your Scorpion 250% more cold damage, an extra 100% crit chance, an extra 100 chill chance, and an additional 100% critical strike. So Warcry's now 200% crit with chill and 250% damage, and triggering Maelstrom, which the Scorpion will use Maelstrom as well. So these 4 skills are like locked in. Now for the 4th skill, I don't know why I was like, oh, we'll use Gathering Storm because Maelstrom can use Gathering Storm Storm Bolts, but these won't scale with minion. So this is actually out. This is actually out because that would scale with my spell, not minion, which means we get back 2 extra points. We could do that. And what else? Okay. Next expansion is Paladin, maybe. That is the rumor. Tundra helmet too. We don't need the Tundra helmet because that would turn it to cold and we already get that. Yeah, increased minion area is only on Amulet and Gloves and on the Frogger helmet itself. I think it'll be the saving grace for D4 is Paladin, the hero we deserved. Okay, if it was like you're sitting around the boardroom table and it's, guys, we need a home run. We need a grand slam. We need a grand slam to win the World Series. Just don't talk to me about numbers. What will it require? And they say, Diablo 4 expansion, launch Paladin, and launch, are you ready for this? Diablo. Pew, 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 pew. I know. I'm not on Blizzard's payroll. Could you imagine how much money I would get for these types of ideas? And more powers. Well, of course, more powers. Everybody knows that. You gotta have more powers or else it's not gonna be good. It will still be a bad game, Aaron. The answer is always Paladin. Imagine the perks of that job. Very funny. So you mean it would finally be Diablo? We're gonna make the expansion good versus evil, Paladin versus Diablo, and then make the game fun. Diablo in a Diablo game? No way. I know it'd be the meme of them throwing me out the window. 7 minutes. 7 minutes until the watch party for POE 2. Okay. I'm going to say it one more time. I will die if the leak is real. I don't believe it. I really am saying this. I'm not saying this to try and like stir up drama or controversy. Yesterday, I heard that there's a leak that POE 2 is introducing a permanent, or not permanent, but a way to infinitely sprint. That after you hit spacebar, if you hold spacebar, you sprint infinitely, but if you get hit, you fall on the ground. If that is true. When I heard that yesterday, I was in the dark alone, laughing out loud. There's no way they put that in the game. There's no way. I will die if that's the new thing. I will die. Watch what you say or that algorithm's gonna clobber you. That would be awesome. You know what they could do? They could buff character movement speed per level. These are the ideas from a genius. Sorry. All right. Where are we at right now? I love it when they try. I love factions. That's new. Movement speed potion. POE 2 just needs mounts that get stuck on terrain. Or just introduce movement skills. What? That's impossible. POE will introduce jumping. Jumping wasn't in Titan Quest 2. Jumping is, well, I guess like jumping. It's actually the same kind of jumping in D4 as Titan Quest 2. Jumping's in the new Moon Beast game. All right, let's switch to it. I don't want to miss anything. I'm not going to be theory crafting in the background. I'm going to be watching it. Guys, you believe me, right? Season 4 Ellie mounts. Too many games of which to keep track. As long as you are following the channel on Twitch or subbed on YouTube, type in ! giveaway. We will draw a giveaway at the end of today's stream. Sure. You'll be watching your theory crafting. No. Believe it or not, I have it on 2 screens. So I can watch it here or up there or theory or watch it here. Watch it. 3 minutes. 3 minutes. 3 minutes. Everybody, we are 2 minutes and 30 seconds away from the live stream reveal from Grinding Gear Games on supposedly one of the biggest updates for GGG. This is the 3rd edict for Path of Exile 2. We are 2 minutes away from this. Every 10 seconds, we need an update. Don't let him Diesel, 90 seconds. If you're not paying attention, 90 seconds. Diesel. Hopefully the update to the game will be fun. Let's hope. Turn off alert box. Turn off blurps. Nice try. Got him. Go to the bathroom. Polka is off. Here we go.
Hi, I'm Jonathan Rogers from Grinding Gear Games, and welcome to GGG Live. Today we're going to show you an exclusive reveal of what's coming next for Path of Exile 2. Twitch drops are enabled on today's live stream, so you'll be able to claim your Sun Priest's Incineration
Twitch
rare finisher
drops are
effect by
on.
following the instructions below.
They're on.
Now with that out of the way, let's get started. It's time to give you a teaser of what's coming in Path of Exile 2, the Third Edict.
Karui! I have called you here to save our people. To save our way. Over the ages, we have known pain like no other. But
Twitch
we
drops are on.
endured, and we became mighty. Now, outsiders dishonor our shores, and we have stood by, doing nothing. Hear my voice, ancestors! Show us your strength! Show us the true way! I understand. Be still! I'll bring your call!
Where's the druid?
Makura Makoi will rise.
New trade system. Best I can do is Act 4. No new class.
Now, as you can see, there's a lot going on, and we have a lot to reveal today. We'll start by going over Act 4, the next chapter in the Path of Exile 2 storyline. But that's not all. There's also 3 new interlude acts to get you to endgame, which means we're removing cruel difficulty too. After that, we'll be going through the massive changes to characters. I'm super excited to show you how I've overhauled the entire support gem system, added new skills, and yes, there are buffs. Next, we'll go over the Rise of the Abyssal, this season's exclusive league mechanic, and talk about the new rewards, crafting systems, areas, and bosses that it adds. After that, it's on to changes we're making to the endgame. Then it's time to talk about items, crafting, and oh yeah, trade. That's going to be a big one. We'll then go over our new supporter packs and finish up with a live Q&A session where Ziggy D will ask Path of Exile 2's game directors, myself and Mark, your questions from Twitch chat. And after that, at 4 PM Pacific, hatch notes. They're not quite complete, but they should give you some nice details to chew on. We've got a lot to cover today, but first, another announcement. When the Third Edict launches on the 29th, we'll be having a free weekend for Path of Exile 2. That's right, Path of Exile 2 will be free for the first time without requiring an early access key. The free weekend will end on September the 1st, so you'll have plenty of time to give the game a try. Alright, let's get started with Act 4. The story continues from the end of Act 3. Doryani has agreed to help you find an ancient weapon that can be used against corruption, the instrument of the Third Edict. The weapon was broken in ages past, but he believes that the pieces may be found in the Karui archipelago, the home of the Karui tribes. You will need to journey to Kingsmarch, hire a ship, and set sail. When you open the map, you can choose to sail anywhere you like. Act 4 is completely non-linear, and you can visit the islands in any order you choose. Will you visit the pristine beaches of Whakapanu Island?
The
The
beaches.
Karui whisper of a curse that afflicts all
The beaches of what? Wait, what did he say? Never mind.
the volcanic shores of the Isle of Kin. The Kin have been more restless recently, mining for sulfite and driven by some dark force. Perhaps you will choose to consult with one of the local Karui tribes. Their ancient wisdom could hold clues to finding the Third Edict. No matter where you choose to go, you will fight dangerous beasts, find fabulous treasures, and battle incredible bosses.
A challenger! Come, Yama sees your soul!
There are 8 islands to discover, each teeming with its own flora and fauna. Act 4 contains over 100 new monster types, 16 new areas, 12 new bosses, and plenty of other interesting encounters. There's a huge amount to show, but we're not going to spoil too much here. We want to give you a chance to discover it all for yourself.
So are they dropping swords?
What happens after Act 4?
Or whatever they wanted?
Well, until now you had to repeat the entire campaign again before you could face the endgame. But after adding Act 4, the game is far too long to make you do that. We needed something else to do in between the end of Act 4 and the endgame. So what else could we do? Add 3 new mini-acts, of course, and we're calling them the Interludes. The Interludes are a set of 3 temporary side stories that will be included in the game until Act 5 is released, that will take you to level 65 where the endgame can begin. The first interlude sends you on a journey back to Ogham. Renly has been leading the efforts to rebuild Ogham Village after the defeat of Count Geonor, but there's a new danger afoot. The nearby town of Holton is surrounded by an impenetrable darkness, and each night their corrupted townfolk emerge to raid the local farmlands. You'll discover new areas, and new bosses. You'll need to find your way through the darkness, uncover the source of corruption,
Soon you will serve our master.
and defeat it.
Yes, I shall dance with their corpse.
And that's just the first interlude. The second interlude will have you return to the Vasteri Desert, where Asala has been given a sacred duty. When the skies align, the gifting of water requires a chosen Sekima to meet with the Selkari, guardians of the sacred water, but they're nowhere to be found. You will need to track down the Selkari, find those responsible for disrupting the gift.
Just to be clear, there's nothing wrong with the interludes. I like that we don't have to repeat the campaign. I just more think about how much dev time went into making a fake Act 5 and 6 instead of just making Act 5 and 6.
3. As Royal Thaumaturge of the Vaal, Doyani had plans within plans to save his people from the cataclysm perpetuated by Atzeri's lust for power. One such plan
thinking
involved
the same
sealing a
thing,
group of
yeah.
willing Vaal deep in a great mountain vault near
They
the
can
home of the
reuse the
Esmeri,
tile sets
deep
later,
enough
sure.
to survive
Yeah.
the cataclysm. Even though thousands of years have passed, he believes that their descendants may still live, and may be key to defeating the beast. The journey up the mountain will be dangerous. New foes stand in your way. And the further up the mountain you venture, the colder it will become. Explore caves of ice.
Just to be clear, no new class, no new ascendancy, no new weapon type. Is that correct? I just want to make sure I'm giving the right information. Is that right?
4, that adds up to 35 new areas in the campaign and 24 new bosses. It's worth making clear that the interludes are temporary.
Yes. Okay.
When Act 5 and 6 are added, the interludes will be going away. These are side stories after all, but don't worry, the bosses and areas that make up the interlude are all part of the endgame. We're not just going to throw them away. And with that, we don't need cruel difficulty anymore. We do know that it was a pretty big chore to have to play through the campaign multiple times on each character, and this was a huge reason that the campaign could feel like a bit of a slog when playing through again. but we do also have another new feature to address that particular concern as well. So let's talk about sprinting.
Please let your
In
character fall
030,
over.
when you hold down the dodge roll button, your character will go into a sprint after they finish the roll. This is available on all character classes, and there's no limitation on how long you can sprint for. The primary purpose of this feature is to make navigating areas faster when out of combat. Because of that, if you do take a hit while sprinting, you'll fall to the ground. The best idea is to use a skill when you see monsters. That'll break you out of the sprint so you can engage with no danger. If you do need to run away from monsters, just hold spacebar. You won't be vulnerable during the roll, and you're faster while sprinting than basically any monster in the game, allowing you to retreat from combat. Sprint is a pretty significant change to PoE 2's gameplay. What I like most about it is that we can accelerate the pace of the game for those who want that, without having to compromise on PoE 2's more visceral combat systems. Okay, so that's the new extensions to the campaign, but there's a whole giant league to play through as well. I'll leave that to Mark to talk about later. And that's because what I want to talk about now is the new stuff for your characters. And probably one of the biggest new systems here is with the support gems. Now, support gems are one of the most interesting elements to creating a build. They're what enables so many interesting mechanics and different ways to play. But PoE 2's support gem system has just never been quite right. One of the major issues is the limitation of only having one support gem of each type on your character. We didn't want builds to just become using the same 5 most powerful supports in every skill. The problem with this design, though, is that it's actually working against using multiple skills in your build. If you can only use each support gem on one skill, it means that you're encouraged to go all in on that one ability. And we want to encourage you to combo your abilities, something needed to change. So with that in mind, we've removed the restriction of having one of each support gem per character. You can now use as many copies as you like. This should drastically increase the amount of possible builds and increase the amount of skill diversity. There are a lot of potential builds that suffered from the previous restriction. For example, a poison build previously couldn't add poison to more than one skill. They couldn't use stacking poison on more than one skill either. This severely limited your ability to combo with anything outside of the specifically designed poison archetype, but now you can. Many utility skills previously couldn't scale to endgame, because the supports that would make them scale were more useful to use in other skills. You would never speed up killing Palm with martial tempo, when you would much rather use it on your primary skill instead. There are more examples like this all over the place. In addition to that, though, we thought there wasn't enough feeling of progression in the supports as you went through the game. There were only 3 tiers of supports, and many of the most important ones were given out at Tier 1. Also, there were no strict upgrades, meaning that upgrading supports when you ran out of sockets required quite a lot of thinking. In order to solve these issues, we now also have multiple levels of many supports as you go through the game. For example, double barrel support gives you an extra bolt, but at the cost of 30% less reload speed. At Tier 2, the penalty gets lowered to 20%. But then at Tier 3, the support gem gets something new. It now reloads automatically when you heavy stun an enemy. In some cases, the highest tiers might work a little differently, and you'll have to decide if you like the upgrade or not, depending on your build. For example, rapid casting. The first couple of levels gives 15, then 20% increased cast speed. But then at Tier 3, it changes to a new approach. For each different spell you cast in the last 8 seconds, you get 10% increased cast speed, which could be a pretty big bonus if you use a lot of different spells. So that's pretty good for upgrades through the campaign, but we wanted to add a little more spice to the endgame for supports too. And that's where our new system, Lineage Supports, comes in. You can think of these like unique items, but for supports. There are supports that are only available at
I'm
endgame, but they're
listening
much
to the
more powerful.
supports.
Like Ratha's Assault. It's an
Something
upgraded
about
version of Double Barrel
multiple
that
of 'em.
reloads your skill as you dodge roll, as well as increasing the number of bolts it can hold. But it does mean that it's the only way you can reload the skill now. Now, unlike regular supports, you can't find these through the uncut support gem. Just like unique items, many of these can
Am
be
I
found
theory
from specific
crafting?
bosses.
No.
And there's a ton in the regular drop pool too. Some of them are fairly rare, others fairly common. Some of them are build defining, others are just straight up power upgrades. All in all, there's around 40 lineage supports being added throughout the endgame, so there's a lot of power to find out there. Now, the new support gems are certainly going to open up a lot of builds, but of course we have a huge range of improvements to individual character classes as well. As well as adding new skills, we had a big focus on buffing existing skills so that they can scale well into the endgame. There's a huge amount to cover here, so we're not going to discuss everything. We're just going to quick fire through some of the coolest changes. We wanted to make cold a more useful element on the Ranger, so we've expanded the cold tools available. As well as increasing its range, Escape Shot now creates fragments of ice whenever it hits the ground. These fragments explode after a short time, making the skill better for killing groups of enemies. But not only that, we added an ice fragment support that creates more of them when killing frozen enemies. And a new buff skill called Ice-Tipped Arrows that allows all your arrows to create ice fragments. This already gives clear to rangers wanting to use ice, but to take further advantage of the ice fragments, Freezing Salvo has been upgraded to shoot additional cold arrows towards every fragment, giving you a nuke-like ability. We've also modified Snipe to consume frozen from enemies, dealing a huge amount more damage, giving you a nice ice single target option. And something you might notice about this is that the bonus is a lot higher against bosses. This is actually a change you'll see throughout the entire game. Since it's a lot harder to freeze a boss, you should get a bigger reward for it. Another theme you'll see throughout the game is making movement feel better. Toxic Growth is a skill that was pretty cool, but a bit annoying to use with the jump that it had. Now Toxic Growth is a range skill, so you can spam it more easily. And we've also added a new poison skill while we were at it, called Toxic Domain. It creates a small area around you that makes all your attacks create toxic growth pustules, but attached to monsters. Another skill that was annoying to use was Electrocuting Arrow. It's now just a regular arrow, making it easier to use. But it also means you can support it with projectile supports. And it now also has Area of Effect, making it a tool for more than just single target, and allowing it to scale into the endgame. We also added a new spirit reservation called Mirage Archer. This is a meta skill that allows you to create shadowy clones of yourself to use a skill of your choice. Of course, one of the other big problems the Ranger had was survivability. Evasion was the weakest of the three defenses, and we wanted to change that. Currently, evasion doesn't evade all types of hits in the game, so you're still vulnerable to things like slams or unblockable attacks.
It just started, Necro.
To make evasion characters more tanky, we're adding a new mechanic called Deflect. Unlike evasion, Deflect works on everything, and if you successfully deflect a hit, you take 40% less damage. Items can now give you a mod that gives you some amount of deflection based on your evasion. And there's a bunch of it available on the passive tree too. Deflection is rolled in addition to evasion, so this is an upgrade for regular hits too. And unlike evasion, there's no maximum chance. You can reach 100% deflect against all hits if you spec into it enough. Of course, this is a buff that helps all Dex characters, so the Mercenary
like
and the Monk,
blow,
but especially the Huntress,
right?
are seeing big defense boosts from this as well. Speaking of defensive mechanics, let's talk about block and parry. Now, one of the big concerns on the release of the Huntress was parry feeling unreliable. One of the big reasons for this is there's a lot of hits that are not blockable, and thus not parryable either. So a huge balance change we're making is that now everything is blockable, except for specifically unblockable red flash skills that bosses use. This makes parry much more reliable. And not only that, but to make block and parry nicer to use, you now also move faster than before while using these abilities. This is a massive buff to passive block as well, so to counter that we did have to lower the max passive block a bit, but overall you should feel much safer.
It's exactly like Glancing Blow. Yep.
Fire skills on the warrior were not really cutting the mustard, so we decided we needed to upgrade a bunch of them, but also add some more as well. Let's start with a buff. Volcanic Fissure now branches into multiple fissures, giving it much more clearing potential. We've also added a new skill called Forge Hammer. This skill throws a molten hammer that does a slam at a distance. You can recall the hammer back by using the skill again if you like, but the cooler thing to do is to use a Warcry near it. Using a Warcry makes the hammer explode, making a bunch of volcanic fissures around. Volcanic fissures re-trigger when you slam them, so it's a great skill to make a flaming arena to fight a boss. We also buffed Perfect Strike to have much larger area of effect, and changed Molten Blast to not always force you to move forward. Trust me, it feels a lot better to use now. The skill now has massively boosted chance to ignite monsters as well. And you're going to want to ignite monsters due to a new glory skill called Ancestral Cry. Ancestral Cry charges up with glory by igniting monsters, invoking King Kalm's favor. After you do, use it to channel Kalm's ancestral power. Every attack will be ancestrally boosted with fire. Your very steps will explode, triggering volcanic fissures, and molten balls will erupt from your attacks. Warrior shield skills were another area we wanted to improve. Now that we've got sprint, we actually don't need to have a cooldown on shield charge anymore. It now also does more damage the further away you are when you use it.
Where's the dinosaurs? Are they going to announce
Shield
that?
Wall got
That's gotta be
significantly
coming soon.
upgraded AoE. Also, you can shield charge right through it to trigger all the walls. We also added a new shield war cry. Fortifying Cry gives you a defensive buff, but it also builds up charge on your shield that empowers your other shield skills. And Magma Barrier now doesn't require timing in order to use. Just wait for your shield to charge up and block. Seismic Cry now stuns enemies that are primed
They'll
to stun.
introduce a two-headed T-Rex to up one on Ellie.
And we changed the
dinos.
Sunder
What?
interaction with Armor Break. It
Every
now
game
also
needs
gives a Sundered
dinos.
Armor debuff that makes enemies take 40% extra physical damage. Great for bosses. Ancestral Warrior Totem has undergone some pretty significant changes too. We wanted the skill to feel more like using an ultimate.
The sprinting
That
has to
summoning
be
an
an
ancestor to fight for you is a big
out-of-season
deal.
April Fool's
So we've
joke.
changed this totem to require 3 endurance charge to summon, and massively buffed its damage. It also now scales your weapon damage too.
No T-Rex minion, bad
Since there's no
patch.
limit anymore, if you build around generating endurance charges, you can summon an entire forest of totems. In order to make that easier, we added some new sources of endurance charges. There's now a support to make Perfect Strike generate charges, and a support for generating endurance charges from heavy stuns as well. Speaking of totems, we wanted to upgrade the Warbringer. Among the other changes we've made to this class, Answered Call now gives an extra totem, and the spirits have just been generally buffed in many ways. Use it with your limitless ancestral warrior forest to make an army of Karui that would make Tukahama proud. We've also merged the Great Wolf Howl and Warcaller's Bellow support, so that you can get all the benefits with 1 point. And Encased in Jade no longer removes the Jade when getting hit, making it a much better defense. Next up, let's talk about accuracy. Accuracy was
I do think in here the game looks very pretty. I do think POE 2 looks good when you're not doing zoom zoom.
annoying with skills like Bone Shatter, which you certainly don't want to mess with. So we significantly buffed your chance to hit at close ranges when you don't have much accuracy. Warriors shouldn't require any
I really
accuracy
hate the
investment in order to
sprinting
hit
the
with
more I
close range
think about
attacks
it.
now. We also wanted to improve armor. Now, one of the major weaknesses of armor is the inability to defend against elemental damage. In order to mitigate this, we're adding a lot more of the stat that allows your armor to defend against elemental damage. It's now available on items and in a lot more places on the passive tree. One of the most important improvements we've made in 030 is to declunk the action and flow of shooting crossbows. You can now reload crossbows without any movement penalty. But not only that, all skills that can be used while moving now slow you for a shorter amount of time. This change benefits everyone, not just crossbow skills. With both of these changes put together, the run and gun playstyle feels much better. It's hard to explain how important this change is for the feel of the class. The Mercenary is also a good chance to talk about how we're rebalancing to make comboing skills much better. Take Shock, for example. It buffs damage and lasts 4 seconds right now, but that isn't really giving you enough time to take advantage of it. If you're going to add a lightning skill into a build that otherwise wouldn't use one, we need to make mechanics like this much better. So we've increased shock duration on monsters to last 8 seconds. And skills like Plasma Blast, which are intended to be good at shocking enemies, now increase the damage bonus by a lot more. You'll find changes like this all around the game. Chill now lasts 8 seconds, giving you more of a reason to weave in cold damage. Freezing skills are better at freezing. Burning skills need to cause burns that last longer. But making skills like Permafrost Bolts and Incendiary Shot double down on how they're supposed to be used, it makes using them in your build alongside other skills much more likely.
Yes, it's lagging.
We're also making sure to buff
refresh.
specific combos too. The freeze explosions from frag rounds now chain to nearby enemies.
Twitch dead?
And using high velocity rounds with armor break will now fragment the opponent's armor. This causes monsters to take a portion of high velocity rounds damage with every subsequent hit, even tiny pellets.
Hello?
So that means following it with a shotgun blast is way more effective. Now there's a lot more buffs to crossbow skills, but for now I'm just going to talk about the new one we added, the Mortar Cannon.
I'm live.
This one lets
I
you
just
socket
checked.
any grenade skill.
Working.
And using it will summon a cannon which loads and then fires the grenade you choose.
You guys can go to YouTube, Kick, or X. YouTube all the way.
Another issue on the Mercenary were banners.
Hello.
They were
It's
just
working.
not very good, so we're doing a
checked.
big upgrade to them. They now last longer, don't disappear when moving out of them, and we removed the Valor mechanic. They now just give a much more consistent and stronger buff, and you can use them when you get enough glory.
POE 2 killed everything.
On which, one of the main focuses was making various minion types more useful to use together. Melee minions in particular were just not that great compared to ranged ones. As a starting point, we just straight up removed the requirement for
Sorry, but POE 2 is slowly taking over the title of Best ARPG Contender. Yep.
added a new command skill where they do a war cry that intimidates enemies and detonates any frozen monsters and allies around you in a big cold explosion. We've also changed the Frost Mage's command skill to an ability that adds ice armor to your other minions, adding a layer of defense. And it makes them deal cold damage back to the attacker as well. The ice armor also makes the minion count as frozen, so the Brute's war cry can detonate them too. Unearth was changed to work on corpses of your dead skeletons, allowing you to summon the minions more easily in boss fights. And they also got a new jump ability, allowing them to get into combat faster. Ray's Spectre was also feeling pretty weak for the spirit cost they have. To be honest, we were a little afraid of these when we first balanced them. We've both decreased the spirit cost for a large range of monsters, and have significantly increased Spectre damage too.
Season
They should feel
3
a lot
of
more
Last
impactful.
Epoch in 19 hours.
There's also a lot of new spellcaster weapons with newer cult skills. But I'll just talk about one of them that I thought was particularly cool. The Reaping Staff is actually a wicked scythe that gives you a new ability called Reap. When an enemy is low in life, you can dash forward and rake enemies with the scythe to cull them instantly, healing you.
It's Flay.
It can also inflict critical weakness on enemies too.
Dash sight.
Now, there's a lot of
Flay.
balance changes in the Witcher's Ascendancy classes, but I'll just talk about 2 of them for now. On the Blood Mage, you were previously required to spend your first points on Sangomancy, which really was supposed to be the downside for being able to access the powerful abilities on the rest of the class. In order to make picking the Blood Mage a better early option, we've made Sangomancy free, unlocking the power of the rest of the class immediately. On the Infernalist, the Demon form wasn't something people were really using because you lost your weapon stats while transformed. Well, you no longer do, so it's a much better option now. On the Monk, the wind skills needed a big upgrade for sure. Staggering Palm can now stack up its duration if you use the skill multiple times in a row, so you can keep the effect of all your skills throwing up wind much more easily. Wind Blast had the purpose of building up to dazing an enemy, but dazing just wasn't worth all that effort. Now it just dazes on hit, meaning a single Wind Blast will make all your skills stun enemies more easily. Following up with Vaulting Impact on a dazed enemy previously did a bunch of stun. Now it allows you to break your enemy's stance. When their stance is broken, following up with a fast attack will do way more damage. A cool build that certain people always enjoyed in PoE 1 was hand-to-hand combat, but until now we just didn't have a real way to make it viable. Well, that changes now. The Monk, as a true martial artist, now has the ability to learn the Hollow Palm technique, a keystone that lets you use all quarterstaff skills while unarmed.
Ooh, I like that.
All quarterstaff
Unarmed.
attacks now have a special unarmed version, and you get further bonuses to all your attacks from stacking Energy Shield and Evasion on
That's
your character.
cool.
A new keystone we also added to the Monk section of the tree is Walker of the Wilds. This changes Mana Leech to work with elemental damage instead of physical, which is pretty useful for all those elemental attacks the Monk has, but it works well for the Ranger too. Now, one of the least used Ascendancy classes in the game is the Acolyte of Chayula, so we knew we needed to make some changes here. One of the key things we had to do was make the chaos damage that the Acolyte can do much more useful. So we've added a new skill, allowing chaos damage to ignite, shock, chill, and freeze, embracing the elemental prowess of the Monk in a truly chaotic fashion. In addition, he can make all of his chaos damage leech. And we've buffed Into the Breach and Embrace the Darkness by moving the effects of the 4-point nodes into the base skills. He also gains a new notable, Grasp of the Void, which leaves void illusions behind you as you dodge roll. If they're killed, they do massive explosions of darkness, dealing damage to everything in sight. Now let's talk about Sorceress skills. One of the things we wanted to improve on the Sorc is the ability to use multiple elements together more effectively. Now, this might seem small, but one of the things pushing you towards using a single element is debuffs like elemental curses, which lower resistances of a single element. In order to fix that, we're making quite a lot of game-wide changes to these kinds of mechanics to broaden what they apply to. So for example, there's no longer 3 curses for fire, ice, and lightning. Instead, there's just a single curse that buffs all 3 at the same time. And things like Frost Bomb, which gave you cold exposure, now give elemental exposure. You can use it to buff any of your other skills. We also wanted to make switching between different weapon sets smoother, so you can use different elemental staves more effectively. To do that, we've removed the weapon switch time, and now it happens
the
instantly.
dinosaur?
This applies game-wide
no
too.
dinosaurs yet.
Now, we didn't just want to stop there. We wanted to add some specific mechanics that work between different elements, and that's where elemental infusions come in. Certain skills can now drop elemental infusions. For example, when a frost bomb explodes, it leaves behind a cold infusion on the ground. After picking it up, you can spend it on one of any number of different skills to transform how they work. Spark will create a nova of cold-infused projectiles.
D4 is cooked.
Ice Nova will leave a chilled area on the ground. And we also added a new low-level skill that fires ice shards.
Rod soon,
Use it with cold
right.
infusion though, and the ice shards will explode. Orb of Storms now generates lightning infusions when you cast enough spells near it. And that's all spells, by the way, not just lightning. Once you have one, you could cast a lightning flame wall, which adds both fire and lightning damage to all the projectiles that pass through it. Or power up Ember Fusillade with lightning, which will generate arcs to nearby enemies as each fireball hits. Or maybe go lightning on lightning with arc. This skill is now a projectile, and by infusing it, you can go full Palpatine. Get fire infusions by blowing up monsters with living bomb. Then use them with Comet to summon a giant fire meteor from the sky. Or use it with Firestorm, which transforms it from a small area into a much bigger one. Firestorm is unique in that it can be infused by multiple different elements at the same time. Add an ice infusion to rain down ice at the same time as the fire. And add lightning to add deadly strikes from the heavens into the mix. Or use it with all 3 to generate a storm that is truly apocalyptic.
Ooh, Judd would like that one for
Cold
sure.
Snap has been simply turned into Snap. Previously, you could use it to shatter ice, but now it works to detonate all of the different elemental ailments and makes them leave behind infusions. And just like how you could previously use it on Frostbolt, you can now also use it on Orb of Storms and Solar Orb to detonate those as well, which means you can create many infusions at once. We also have a Spirit Reservation skill and a support gem to help generate them too. On the passive tree, we've added quite a few new keystones to the Sorceress section. Here are a couple of examples. The Black Flame Covenant keystone converts your fire spells to chaos and causes your ignites to deal chaos damage. Your fire spells and ignites will also turn purple.
That's not me, that's their stream.
The Ritual Cadence keystone causes your invocation skills to trigger more times. It makes them trigger periodically over a longer duration instead of one. Great for those auto-bomber builds. Now, in addition to skill changes, we've added a lot more options for the passive tree for each class. Overall, there are more than 100 new notables on the tree, usually around 20 per class, along with smaller clusters as well. Check out the old version. And here's the new version. It's a lot more dense, and there's more interesting nodes than before.
Big
Now, we probably
bada
can't go
boom,
through too
big.
many of these in the live stream, so I'll just show you one from each class's area
Big
of the tree.
bada boom, big.
We tried to be a lot more
Bada
thematic
boom.
with the new nodes. So for example,
Big.
the Molten One's Gift. It lets the benefit of armor break apply to your fire damage. Or how about Last Stand, which gives you lots of stats as your situation becomes more and more desperate. A lot of these have themes aligning with ascendancy classes. Like for the Gemling Legionnaire, for example. You have crystallized immunities, which makes you immune to different status ailments, depending on which
I'm so
support gem
hyped for
color
Ellie, it's
you have
hard to
socketed the
focus
most.
on this.
Another ascendancy class aligned notable is Sanguimatic Rituals. It allows arcane surges to
Big
generate
bada
life
boom,
instead of
big
mana,
bada
unlocking that
boom,
support gem to be used with the Blood Mage Ascendancy. In the Sork area, you'll find these Archon nodes that allow you to convert all of your elemental damage to a specific element. You become a Lightning Archon when you spend enough mana, after which all your skills will be converted to lightning, and you will do extra lightning damage as well. We have ones for cold and fire too, with different triggers. Here's another cool one. Elemental Practitioner gives crit bonuses if you've triggered a skill recently, while also making crits generate more energy for triggers. Or maybe you'd like the Great Boar. It gives you a reason to stack dexterity to make you tougher, giving a bonus to life and stun threshold. Or the Cunning Fox. It straight up gives you 5% quality to all your gems. Now, another major change is attribute requirements. We felt like players probably had a few too many nodes and attributes and not enough in interesting passives, so we lowered attribute requirements by 25% across the board.
Thank you!
That means you'll have more points to spend on interesting notables rather than just needing to allocate more strength, dex, and int. Now, there are way more changes than just these. These are just some of the cooler ones we wanted to show off, but I'd say that's just about enough for now. We're not even half done yet. So I think it's time that we talk about the League, the rise of the Abyssal. And to do that, I'd like to hand things over to Mark.
As you just saw, even though there are major changes to the campaign for this update, we want to make sure that every time you come back for an expansion, each area feels different with something extra going on. It is really important to make sure your experience when returning between expansions is fresh and filled with new content. And the way we did this was through leagues. Every expansion we make has a league, which not only has a fresh economy, but also has new content exclusively available in that league. So, let's delve into the details of what Path of Exile 2's first official league is bringing to the table. The Abyssal are a race that have mastery of forbidden magics and necromancy. They were thought to be extinct, but have merely been biding their time underground. You first encounter signs of the Abyssal in Clairfell, where you discover that during the night, weaker members of the Undead Legion have been attacking the encampment. The townsfolk require your help to investigate where the monsters are coming from and put a stop to their attacks.
Out there, ancient creatures, lurking beneath the surface.
As you proceed through Rayclast, you'll find fissures in the earth connected to larger pits. The monsters normally inhabiting the area are being affected by it, harmed by it even, having their souls eaten to strengthen the Abyssal underground. As you defeat the monsters, the fissure closes and Abyssal emerge, angered by you killing their food. Once all those fissures have been sealed, the pit activates, and more Abyssal pour out. This is where the larger and more dangerous monsters reveal themselves, as hordes of Abyssal spew out from the pit to take your soul. If you kill a magic pack, then magic Abyssal arise. If you kill a rare, then a rare monster will emerge from the pit, having absorbed some or all of its modifiers for itself. This means the monsters emerging will generally be more difficult and more rewarding, as each modifier gives better rewards. If you are able to kill them all, the pit will seal shut. As each pit is closed, it reveals a potential reward
from it.
Abyssal troves will rise up out of the pits, allowing you to get some epic loot. Areas often contain many pits, with many fissures, and the amount goes up as you progress through the game, getting more intense. It doesn't stop there. When monster mods are absorbed, they have a chance to become infused with the dark necromancy, transforming them into Abyssal modifiers. For example, you defeat this monster with the
POE
Mana Siphoner modifier.
1.5.
Their soul is eaten by the pit, and a rare monster emerges. The Mana Siphoner modifier has transformed into Soul Siphoner, and is now amplified in danger and reward. Abyssal pits also interact with other monsters and mechanics. If you defeat a rogue exile that's near one, it'll be revived as a Lichborn that has multiple Abyssal modifiers. Lichborn exiles even have their own unique jewel they can drop, if you are lucky enough to encounter and kill them. If an Abyss spawns near a boss, killing it will summon a gigantic Giga Larvae creature. Monsters imprisoned in essences near Abyssal pits are affected by the Abyss too. They will come with an additional new essence item that can be used to craft your items. So, that's your bread and butter of the Abyssal League. Kill surface-dwelling monsters, kill the emerging Abyssal, close the fissures, overcome pit encounters, and reap the rewards. There's a lot more to this league, however. As you complete Abysses, you can find ancient pieces of bone, preserved from the remains of fallen Lichborn. These are one of the many rewards for your mission to seal the pits. You can use this on a rare item to imbue it with abyssal magic, adding a special hidden modifier to your item. But how do you reveal it? In Act 2 of the campaign, you'll encounter a new area. This area is overrun by the Abyssal and the Lost Men. After clearing through this area, you'll find the Well of Souls, a giant cavity with a massive vortex of souls swirling beneath you. So how do you reveal the mods on your Abyssal-infused items? Obviously, just throw them in, right? Yes, that's exactly what you do. Before throwing it in, you are given the option of how you want to transform it, in the form of a choice of 3 different modifiers.
Dead bug. Everybody knows that.
Once you've chosen your desired mod, throw it in, where it will absorb the power of the souls, and the ominous creature will then retrieve it for you. These modifiers can be ones from the core mod pool, all the way through to specialized modifiers that cannot normally appear on items.
It's not masterworking.
During the
it's
campaign,
different.
you can
Everybody
use it
knows
as a
that.
way to more easily add useful existing mods. But during the endgame, there is a whole set of new and powerful mods you can add to your items. Like this mod for crossbows that allows you to place an additional ballista totem. Or this one that adds spirit to your staff. Or this one that allows you to generate more combo with your quarterstaff skills. And speaking of endgame, you can also use the system to craft waystones. With a preserved vertebrae fused into your waystones, you can get some new modifiers that push difficulty and rewards to new heights. Here are some examples of those mods. You always get a choice of 3, so you can avoid anything you don't think your character is capable of. With this modifier, the natural inhabitants of the area are all spawned near abysses, and there are up to 9 additional abyssal pits in the area, making it just a full-on abyss ruckus. Or this one, which causes the final abyssal pit in the area to always result in a boss encounter, be it either one underground or one that emerges out. There are dozens of these waystone modifiers in total you can get from this crafting. That covers the new crafting mechanic. So what's left? Well, we talked about how when closing pits you can get abyssal troves, but sometimes when closing an abyss, you'll reveal an underground cavern that leads to the abyssal depths. After jumping into the depths, you'll find an abyssal city, swarming with legions of the undead. When underground, every single rare abyssal enemy will have an abyssal modifier. And at the end of the dungeon, you'll even find a rare with a more powerful Lichborn modifier. Once you're able to defeat this powerful rare, you can also find some nice rewards. Aside from the entire area being valuable due to the abyssal modifiers on the monsters, it has its own specific drops too. One example is a set of lineage supports that can rarely be found in these depths, like Kurgel's Leash. This support empowers both you and your minions when you command them, granting unholy might to you both. Another depth-specific outcome is a set of omen-like items that amplify your abyssal crafting. Additionally, we're adding some new socketables that can drop from the abyssal depths. Take Ulaman's Gaze, which can be socketed into your armor. These are a bit special in that you can only have one equipped at a time, but give some pretty powerful effects. Think of them as almost a unique socketable for your equipment. In the endgame, where you can still find depths, you also start to find a different type of underground chamber. In these areas, you'll find an ancient spire, a device being used by commanders of the abyssal factions to plunge Rayclast into a lightless void. Your goal is simple: kill this commander and destroy the spire. There are 4 bosses in the Abyss League, and there are some pretty cool uniques available from them. An example is this belt, Darkness Enthroned. It has 2 sockets, but hold on, socketables don't work on belts. Well, this belt has a special mod that allows it to count as a different slot for the purpose of socketables. This one, for example, counts as a helmet. I kind of want one that counts as a body armor. I wonder how rare that one is. You can also find this unique jewel, Undying Hate. This jewel transforms part of your passive skill tree into an abyssal version, and has multiple depths. The deeper it goes, the more of your passive tree is affected, allowing you to fulfill your fantasy of becoming part Abyssal Lich.
The Abyssal passive tree jewel? How
Now,
many
the last thing that Abyssal
one?
commanders can drop is a Finger of the Lich. But what use do you have with a random undead finger? Well, the next time you return to the Well of Souls, with the finger in your inventory, your character will almost feel compelled. To do what, though, you might ask? To jump in. The items you threw in came back more powerful, right? So, what's the worst that could happen? Well, you will just have to find that one out for yourself.
Jump in?
Along with the introduction of Act 4 and the interlude, we will be adding 25 new in-game maps. These maps will contain all the new monsters and bosses we're adding, improving variety and giving you opportunities to experience the new boss fights many times.
Let me show you the
Let's
finger,
take a look
my
at some
man.
examples. Rock Pools is a map where you explore a shallow rocky coastline, surrounded by coral and filled with sirens. At the end is a giant Goblin King boss, ready to eat sulfite and squish you like a bug. Holton is an Ezomite township which has seen better days. Explore and clear the township to find a gothic, Reaper-like boss, with the ability to manipulate storms and fry you with both lightning and wither you with chaos. Given some of the new bosses added are a bit more epic, such as the Act boss and final bosses of each interlude part, it would be a bit of a waste to just use them as regular map bosses. Instead, we'll be adding some new mechanics to the Atlas that use them. These start appearing pretty fast into the endgame and will help bridge the gap until you do your pinnacle bosses. In the desert biome, you can encounter a wild sandstorm. 3 maps around the sandstorm contain a device you must activate. Upon doing this, the sandstorm's magic is disrupted, revealing the map inside and allowing you to access it and find the cause. This presents itself in the form of a boss, similar to the existing Citadel bosses. This boss is a Faradin Swordmaster, who has been blessed with the power of a time gem, allowing him to take his swordsmanship to the next level by replicating himself, maneuvering rapidly, and severing the fabric of time itself with his powerful slashes. In the water biome, you'll encounter a giant maelstrom, where one of the maps surrounding the water biome connects to it, but the connection is obscured. You must run the maps nearby, hoping to find a beacon, which will remove the maelstrom and reveal the connection to that map. Another example is this Vaal vault in the mountain biome. But how do we get inside? Running the adjacent maps to it will yield a key, which you can then use to gain access to this vault. Or, you could just trade for one, I guess. Use the key to dispel the powerful force field surrounding it, leading to the Vaal Elite and their rewards inside.
I swear every league for PoE I've ever covered in the 6 years ever, when the marketing drops, this is the best league ever, this is the craziest stuff I've ever seen, this is insane, and then every single one, and then slowly...
As an example of a lineage support which can come from the Faradin Swordmaster mentioned earlier, we have Garukhan's Resolve, which causes your critical strikes to fork, but requires some mobility on your part to properly enable.
Amazing marketers.
From the boss sealed in the Vaal Vault, we
Yes.
have Paquate's Pact, which supports your war cries, causing them to inflict massive amounts of corrupted blood at the cost of your own life. Additionally, some maps can now spawn summoning circles, a room resembling an Ezomite henge. Activating this henge will spawn bosses. It's as simple as that. We'll also be making changes to how affixes and waystones work, as the current prefixes equals good, suffixes equals bad iteration isn't quite hitting the mark. We tried something new here in Path of Exile 2, but after seeing the feedback we decided we actually liked what we had in Path of Exile 1 more. Like Path of Exile 1,
She
each
needs to
affix
take
will
notes
now
on
be
the
both
marketing. The
difficult
marketing's great.
and rewarding. Waystone mods now grant an increase to the number of waystones dropped, and an additional specific upside attached to it. This means as you roll your map, they will continue to get more difficult and more rewarding, and allow you to customize the difficulty and rewards of your maps better.
I always think
For
about how much
example,
of this stuff
the
goes over people's
Frostbitten
heads.
mod, which
Like,
causes
uh-oh,
enemies
now
to deal
now
cold
I'm
damage,
confused.
also
and I
increases
don't
the
like
rarity
it.
of
I'm too
items dropped as
confused.
its upside. Whereas the Of Venom suffix modifier, which causes enemies to poison on hit, has the upside of granting increased pack size. Some maps will end up having a lot of rarity, some a lot of pack size, and others will just have a mixture of everything.
I'm thrown now.
Due to now
I
having
never-
more modifiers
I've never
granting
understood
difficulty,
POE's endgame.
we will of course be reducing the difficulty per
I'm
modifier
lost.
to account for this. So, that's your Atlas, maps, and waystones. But what about Breach, Ritual, Pinnacle content, and others of the sort? We're making some changes around this too. The first change is that you'll now be able to invest 2 points into your specific League Atlas trees before having to run the Pinnacle content. There will be a specific objective for each type of content which grants you those points. For example, in the case of Delirium, it's simple. You just need to find and kill one of the bosses in a map, Omniophobia or Kosis. The rest of the points for each content come from the Pinnacle content, but we're making some changes to accessibility here too. Currently, access to most Pinnacle content requires the same key at the easiest and most difficult version of the content. This creates a negative feeling where at lower difficulties, instead of wanting to run the content, you're often better off just selling it to someone who can run it at maximum difficulty.
Bingo.
To address this, each content will now drop splinters, which will not form into singular items. Instead of using the singular combined item in the Realm Gate, you can now just bring your splinters. Upon inserting the splinters into the Realm Gate, an interface will appear, allowing you to pick your difficulty, and you'll notice each difficulty has a different entry cost. This means if you want to run easier difficulties, it costs less, which also allows you to run this content much sooner into the endgame. Because these encounters now just require splinters, their corresponding Atlas tree no longer affects the difficulty of them, and has been changed to purely affect the content and maps on the Atlas. The Arbiter of Ash works a bit differently. Instead of requiring splinters, he still needs crisis fragments. We now have only 2 difficulties of the Arbiter. The first, requiring the existing fragments obtained from citadels. The second, Uber Arbiter, requires calamity fragments. These come from citadel bosses also, but only once you've allocated the maximum number of points in your boss Atlas tree, ensuring those citadels are at their highest difficulty level. Since we're talking about Pinnacle content,
They
we
love
also felt that the
towers.
leveling curve in the late game was a bit too steep.
Yeah, Twitch is
We've
lagging.
smoothed this out a bit so that it's
All
easier
my
to get to
stats
the
look good.
mid-90s.
Bitrate looks good. Everything
We've
looks
also
good. No
added
drop
some
frames.
new in-game
Twitch.
unique items. Let's take a look at a couple. Thunderfist is a pair of gloves that grants Crackling Palm, a skill which empowers your unarmed attacks, granting the ability to call down the storms themselves on enemies you hit. Put simply, literally every monster you hit with your unarmed skills will be struck by powerful lightning. Pair this with the aforementioned Hollow Palm technique to embrace your true unarmed prowess in combat. Another unique we're adding is Henekura's Sight. Equip this amulet to be granted the power of the Mother of Death herself. This is reflected by granting you a skill called Foresight. While you have Foresight, your dodge roll no longer avoids hits. But instead, being hit while dodge rolling restores you to full life and makes you unable to die for a brief period of time. You'll notice when this does occur, a copy of your character appears and takes the full damage. This is you seeing that future, as if you hadn't been wearing the amulet. Ultimately, your in-game experience should be more streamlined. With new content to find, you'll be able to invest in your Atlas trees sooner, engage with Pinnacle content faster, have less FOMO running said Pinnacle content, reach higher levels easier, and do all of that while finding many new chase endgame items. Talking about finding items is one thing, but what about crafting them? We've taken a step back and looked at some of our crafting systems to make some notable improvements. Let's start with essences, which suffered from an issue where the regular essences were effectively useless and didn't give players the tools or excitement that a crafting system should provide.
Here we
To
go.
alleviate these concerns, essences are being changed in a few ways. Firstly, they're being changed to function like regals and add specific modifiers with specific values, meaning you know exactly what you're going to get. We found that players were often bottlenecked by regal orbs when crafting in the campaign, so this helps to fill that gap, allowing you to better upgrade your items. For example, this lesser essence of flames, which will be able to add a flat amount of fire damage to your magic martial weapons. Secondly, we're adding many more tiers. That lesser essence of flames, for example, has a regular variant and a greater variant too, adding even more fire damage with each upgrade.
You guys not have blues?
The intention of this is so that when you find one early on, you don't worry about holding onto it till later to use on a higher level item. You should feel free to use them as they come to get powerful upgrades during the campaign. Lastly, our highest tier of essences, now called Perfect Essences, will function like a Chaos Orb instead of a Regal. So it will replace one of the modifiers on your rare items with the specified mod, such as this Perfect Essence of Flames. You'll notice this one doesn't just add flat fire damage like the ones before it. The Perfect Essences often give something a bit different, with some opportunities to be pretty damn powerful. There are many different essences, each with many tiers, covering many of the more core modifiers you'd want on items early on, through to chase specialized ones for in-game. Speaking of in-game, we really wanted to expand our crafting options for late in-game crafting projects. You might have noticed that at in-game, you get way too many transmutes. Wouldn't it be nice if some of those didn't drop, but instead you got something a little more powerful? At higher levels, you can now find Greater Orb of Transmutation and Perfect Orb of Transmutation. These can be used on normal items to upgrade them to magic, ensuring that the modifier generated is of a minimum level. This is similar to how you find higher tier items on the ground, but for crafting. These higher tiers will also exist for Orb of Augmentation, Regal Orb, Exalted Orb, and Chaos Orb, meaning you can get all of the orbs required to take your item from normal rarity to a fully completed rare with guaranteed high tier mods. On top of these new core crafting currencies, we wanted to make sure there are powerful crafting bases to use them on. Now in endgame, you can start to find exceptional items. These are items that drop at normal rarity and are perfect for your from-scratch crafting projects. They can come with extra quality, up to 30%, or an additional socket to use your crafting socketables in. And yes, they can be corrupted for yet another socket. You can also get exceptional unique items. To add even further to your crafting arsenal, we've added a whole suite of new omens to ritual content, and removed some of the more unimpactful ones that weren't being used. Some of the new omens include the Omen of the Ancients, which will cause your next Orb of Chance to not destroy the item, but generate a random unique of the same class. Or the Omen of Sanctification, which is my new favorite. This will cause your next Divine Orb used on a rare item to reroll the values of its modifiers, allowing it to exceed the normal minimum and maximum values, raising the ceiling on the new most powerful rare items in the game. This omen will also cause your item to become sanctified. Sanctified items cannot be crafted, just like corrupted ones, so consider carefully when you use this. Another is the Omen of Chaotic Monsters, which will cause your next Chaos Orb to reroll all mod.
You guys aren't confused, right? You got all this. Right?
Besides these examples, there is a huge variety of new omens for you to discover in your ritual encounters.
Why?
With the release of Act 4,
lost.
notably taking
Not
place
really.
in the Cardori Archipelago, you'll be able to now find a new
definitely not. I
currency
was
item.
lost a while ago.
Penny
Sorry,
Cora's
I
Lock.
fell asleep. You just
Penny
woke
Cora,
me up.
the Cardori goddess of death, has
Why
the
is
power
it
of
so
foresight
complex?
and is able to see many futures,
I zoned out.
including
It's not
the outcome of your
vision.
next craft. So,
I don't
imbuing
even know
her
what's
lock onto
going
an
on.
item gives you that same power too. For example, you'll know whether or not to use an Exalted Orb on your item, as you will know exactly what the outcome is. So, with all these new crafting improvements, it's safe to say you're going to be making some epic items, and not necessarily just ones for yourself. So given that, it's time to talk about a massive one. Trade. It's finally here. The moment we've all
Here we
been
go.
waiting for. Fully asynchronous trade. Over the years, the way players trade with each other in Path of Exile 1 has morphed from using the forums, through to the in-game chat, all the way through to using the website. These systems, in all their iterations, work for a while, but with each iteration new problems eventually reveal themselves. Be it requiring you to be in your hideout too much instead of out there killing monsters, or never getting responses from people who are either AFK or just can't be bothered. In order to finally solve this, and this has been a long time coming, we're adding a new system that allows you to buy items from other players without requiring the seller to be present.
What?
They can continue farming, killing monsters, AFK as they please, and can even be offline. With the introduction of King's March in Act 4, you will encounter Ange, assistant to Rog in the Meridian Free Traders Company. Over the last 2 decades or so, since Path of Exile 1's storyline, Faustus has handed down his knowledge and expertise to Ange, and she is now ready to take over his business. If you have a hideout unlocked already, you can immediately invite her there. If you don't have a hideout yet, you will need to acquire one. You can do this by completing a quest to defeat one of the bosses inhabiting an island in Act 4, allowing you then to take a slice of it for
GGG
yourself,
is coming for
making it your
EHG's
new
head
home and base of operations.
by adding trade.
Once invited to your hideout, she will now serve as operating your currency exchange, but also serve as the figurehead in your new trading empire. So, how does this new system work? In the existing trade system, you would list items for sale in premium stash tabs. And then when someone wanted one, you'd have to take it out for yourself and trade it to them. Now, instead of using those, you can give your items to Ange so she can sell them for you. Each item must have a price set. The prices are set using in-game currency items, such as Exalted Orbs or Chaos Orbs. Once a price is set, other players will be able to find the item by searching for it on the trade website. Once a desired item has been found, you can hit a button, which will instantly teleport your character in-game to their hideout. Then, you can immediately purchase the item, and while there, if you want, browse their other goods, in case there's
You still have to go to their hideout because they want people to see. Never mind.
as Ange has bills to pay after all. As a seller, you'll immediately receive a notification when an item of yours is sold, and can also see an effect above Ange in your hideout when she has unclaimed currency.
And the trade website.
Just go
It's
talk
still
to
way
her,
better. I'm sorry.
claim
It's
your
still way
currency,
better.
and continue playing at your leisure.
But it's, yeah. So you go to the trade
As
website,
many people
find
already
the item,
acquired premium stash
teleport
tabs
to
for the
their
purpose
hideout,
of the trade
click
system,
on their stash,
we wanted
find
to add
the
a way
item,
for you to
and buy
convert
it.
your existing tabs to merchants tabs, if you want. You can do that here, on the website, but only if you purchase those tabs
How is that
before
better?
the
The
release
person
of the
doesn't have to
third
be
edict.
online.
To clarify, the existing trade system will remain fully intact, so your premium stash tabs will not lose any of their functionality. We
And-
just figured people might want to switch over to this new system. We expect a lot of feedback around this new system and are looking forward to trying it out with you. As we are not able to test internally with an entire, thriving economy, there will certainly be some kinks to work out. Based on how the
That's a
system
good start.
goes, we will be adding it to Path of Exile 1 when ready, so any of the tabs you purchase will also be usable there later. Next up, we're going to be talking about our new supporter packs. Today, we're launching 2 new series of supporter packs, the Justice and Trathan Executioner packs.
Execution.
Each tier contains the pack's full face value in points, alongside several exclusive microtransactions. As always, the microtransactions in these packs are purely cosmetic and do not affect your character's power or progression in any way. The Justice series of supporter packs contains 6 exclusive microtransactions. Claim glory after defeating enemies, or inspire your allies by calling down the Banner of Justice portal. The Sphinx Mystic hideout decoration will identify items for you,
No
displaying
swords.
them as it does so. This ancient creature has been presented with many items over the eons, so has some strong expressions to make on the quality.
But you need tabs for the new trade system, right? Didn't they say you could use your existing premium tabs with the vendor?
With the Apostle of Justice armor set. This armor set also comes with a matching back attachment containing a set of scales to measure your worth. With the Apostle of Justice finisher effect equipped, the Goddess of
No
Justice
mom
herself
portal?
will appear to decide on a verdict for slain unique enemies. Witness as she decides the fate of your slain foes. Will they ascend to be amongst the gods or be banished to the underworld? The Griffin fledgling pet will be your courageous companion as you journey throughout Rayclast. Take your place in the skies in the Plateau of the Gods hideout. This hideout comes with many different sections for setting up your home or base of operations. In order to travel between them, you simply just need to walk off the edge. Like a true eternal god, you can float between the mountains on the clouds themselves. The Trathan Executioner pack series also contains 6 exclusive microtransactions. The Trathan Executioner finisher effect is a brutal display of Trathan might, crushing slain unique enemies as if they were bugs beneath your heel. As a Trathan Executioner, you're the perfect master for the ever-hungry carrion raptor pet. It has taken a particular liking to the taste of other pets, and at your command it will swoop down and eviscerate them, proceeding to satisfy its hunger by feeding on their corpse. The nobles of the 4 major Trathan houses had their mercenaries, but if their hired hands became notably irritating, they'd have to call in the Trathan Executioners. You can now embrace their methods and become brutality incarnate with the Cruel Trathan Executioner armor set. The matching Cruel Trathan Executioner cloak will shroud you in scarlet as you crush the skulls of your enemies and leave a trail of blood behind you as you build up a kill streak. Or use the alternate variant to simply put a skeleton on your back. Be bathed in blood as you mutilate monsters with the Cruel
There's the
Trathan
raptor.
Executioner character effect.
Maddox
The
loves
swirling
this
blood
stuff.
increases in volume as your spree of slaughter continues. Both this effect and the cloak use the same kill streak for tracking how much blood is shown. After a long and tiring day of executions, enjoy a relaxing game of dice with the Goblin Gambler's Hideout decoration. They'll definitely be playing fair, right? The Pulverizer map device brings a horrid efficiency to punishing the damned of Trathus. Each map you open will execute the next victims. This map device in its true ruthlessness tracks the total number of monsters killed, your kills per second, and your largest kill streak up to the point of the map being completed. This is then displayed on a leaderboard so you can take a measure of you and your friends' violence at the end of each map. Additionally, any microtransactions from the supporter packs will be made available for use in Path of Exile 1. That's enough about cosmetics. Let's get into the Q&A. But firstly, I want to give a huge thank you for your ongoing support. We're just about to start the Q&A with Ziggy D. Afterwards, at 11 AM NZ time, or 4 PM Pacific, we'll post Path of Exile 2, the Third Edict's patch notes. With the release at the end of next week, our community team will be posting crucial information you need for the release. Keep an eye on the news. Thanks for joining us today and checking out our
Boring, I'll
latest
stick with
developments.
Ellie for a game
We're looking
that's in
forward to
early
seeing your
access. I find it
experiences
funny
with Act
how
4 and its new bosses,
the push
fighting
you
the
to spend
Abyssal,
money
trying
and
new
everyone's
builds,
fine
and
with
crafting
it.
new items. We'll begin the Q&A shortly, so please get your questions ready.
Read through the patch notes. I gotta rewatch this video. I missed most of it. Something about new skills and stuff.
Exiles, after a absolutely monumental reveal, we now have a suitably.
That's
juicy
not me. That's their audio.
Probably like 2 hours or something.
A monumental. The word used was monumental reveal.
And Mark to discuss a lot. The patch that had to fix all the things, right?
That was the goal. I mean, we didn't quite get to literally everything.
I
but
know it's what
we certainly managed to do a lot of things that we were very keen to do.
Yeah, you guys were telling me that this was uniquely nerve-wracking for you because there was, I guess it felt like there was a lot of pressure on this one to fix everything.
Absolutely. I mean, look, we've obviously got a lot to prove. You know, we need to make sure that we're like that. Well, put it this way: I wouldn't want people to feel like we that we don't have answers to a lot of the things that people have been unhappy.
Okay, obviously the audio's screwed up. Hold on. Guys. GGG's marketing is amazing. I'm not saying it's a bad update, but would you say what you just saw for PoE 2 would be described as monumental? Monumental?
A big one as well.
Yep. So yeah, I mean, it's certainly hard. I mean, look, the really hard
That's
part
their
is, you know,
audio,
making it
not
at the same time,
mine.
like,
No,
that's a
no,
really huge
yes,
commitment.
yes.
So I'm certainly going to be happy once we finish the campaign.
Man.
We're going to be back to normalcy again. But yeah, it's a like, you know, what it does do is it means that there's like a huge amount of content to draw from. There's obviously a huge
No
amount
way.
for
It's impressive in the amount of time.
You know, not
No,
necessarily the
yes.
in-game players as well, because you've got all the, you know, the
it's
new campaign stuff, so
unwatchable.
like a pretty
No,
big deal
yeah,
for that
it's a
stuff,
pretty
but
mixed
it also means you
group.
can take a bunch of that stuff and move it into the
No
in-game too, so the in-game
innovation,
kind of
no
gets
new
a big expansion as
class.
well. So yeah, it's been quite a good one.
Yeah, I remember early on we had the process. Actually, we just literally grabbed my whiteboard.
This is
and
volume
Marcus and
max,
just wrote down
just so
every
you know.
single problem.
Yeah.
And I'd say it's not a strategy we've done to this degree, this methodically before.
Right,
where we were like, okay, we have to solve everything on this whiteboard.
Yep. Literally
And-
made a tier list up there. Like, this
we
is
had a
T1, this
tier
is
list.
T2.
We did
like,
actually fully
yeah.
of every problem, and
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know there were things in there like performance and things that
Monumental.
aren't necessarily the actual game content.
I
and
mean,
all
the
this kind of
very
stuff.
the very one at the top of the list was, campaign is a slog, right? Like that was the one
Yeah.
that we were like, we've got to solve that. So things like that were just like we're really trying to be honest about
No
like,
new
here are the real
class,
issues.
no weapon.
The
I
reason
called
it
it.
ends up being a bit nerve-wracking is because
Players will get
we
hyped
had a
and
goal
done
to
quick.
fix all of it, and we didn't get to fix. We aren't fixing literally everything. We're fixing almost a lot. And I'm sure a few new problems introduced here and there. However,
obviously, as we're watching Twitch chat, there was a huge amount of stuff about towers. We had a plan; it was on the list. It just unfortunately we couldn't get time to sort it.
Towers.
So, that's one of the. It's probably the notable one, I would say.
Yeah, so we'll kind of discuss around your vision and stuff for Endgame soon as well, so that you can give people some reassurance about like where you want to go with that. But we should also mention just the other elephant in the room, or the lack of the elephant in the room, with the druid.
Yes.
No elephant form, but the druid kind of works.
Yeah.
So it seemed that druid has been uniquely challenging to get shipped. It's been something you've been working on for a while now, and just getting it right. What has been the challenge with druid and getting it out?
Well, I mean, okay, so we started believing that we were going to have druid in this version. And that was the case for at least 2 months of the. 4
I
months
literally
of
can't turn up
development
the
that we
volume
were,
any louder.
that we had here, and obviously like a bunch of work had gone on before that as well. But at some point we realized, that we don't want to have the mistake that we effectively had with 020, where like we put a huge amount of effort into the class and then we didn't get time to fix like all of the concerns that people had outside of that, right? Because obviously the same resources go into making a new class as go into balancing the old ones and making all that stuff, right? So if we don't have the balance in like a good place, it kind of feels a bit bad to like be throwing in a class that's kind of effectively disrupting that. So then what that meant was at some point we're like, okay, since we don't believe we can get both the class and all these other balance changes we want to make in at the same time, it's actually better to cut the class and then have the balance changes instead. So that's what we ended up doing, and obviously it was like a really hard thing to cut because obviously like, you're going to have another one without a class, like it feels really terrible.
Yeah,
but we've got the philosophy now of like we have to make sure that we're in the release month that we say we're going to be in. So therefore something had to go, and unfortunately that was it. But it means we've obviously got a huge head start for when we actually do it next time. And I mean, look, there was so much stuff that was cut, like even as large as it is, like there's like ascendancies and all sorts of stuff that was gonna be there, and we'll get to it. But more important to just make sure that people are happy with the stuff that's in, and make sure all those changes are great, and make sure obviously you've got answers for stuff, right?
I imagine for druid, it's it's a big part of it's just the fact that the shape shifting, getting it looking and feeling.
Yeah,
right,
yeah, no,
is
I mean it's
really,
a huge
really
deal.
challenging, right?
It's hard. Like there's so much animation stuff that has to go into making each form feel right. So yeah, like. That,
okay,
but we'll
caught
get
up on
there.
the
like, I don't
trade
think we're that
system.
far
It's
away
not
from it
great,
now, so,
but it's
you know,
good
it's just a
enough
question
for
of,
me to be willing to
prioritization.
play
it seems
PoE
like
2
it
again.
is
Still
probably
like
the hardest
Ellie's better.
class of all then.
Might be, yeah.
I think it will be.
Yeah.
You're getting a bit more ambitious as you go with each
That is
class
true.
too, which
That
is
is true. Every class is a step
Not
up from
helping.
the last in terms of that. Yeah.
yes. So I guess on that note, do you have a vision for who's next after Druid, or is it kind of a race between them to see who ends up feeling most
Well, I've
finished?
always said that it would be criminal to go into full release without having swords. So
Yeah.
you know that's
Yes.
that's
It's
kind
a
of a
little
pretty
bit criminal.
glaring.
It's a little bit criminal to get this far without.
Yeah,
having
to be
swords.
honest, it is. Yeah. So I'd say
it
that
is
would be
weird when you think about
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
real
So-
weird.
It is real weird.
So that would be an
Problems
obvious
don't fix
candidate.
the real
is making sure that
problem
we've
with
got that.
PoE
people
trade.
can infer
Need an
from that.
external
Yeah.
website. People
Duels
can
or something.
lowball price
Most
items to
likely
bait
the sword
newbies
one.
and never sell them.
Yeah, and as you said,
Both
the
are
SMCs
still
just
true
kind of the
even
same
with the
boat as
changes.
You weren't satisfied with where they were at to be able to get those in. So that's the things you missed, but that's like the list of the things you missed. That and doing something with towers.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
now we can talk about kind of what you have done. We'll jump into endgame first, since I know the towers and stuff have been a hot topic for people. So we'll talk about the endgame. This wasn't ostensibly supposed to be an endgame update, from what you were telling me, but it still seems like a pretty big endgame update in the end.
Yeah, I mean, well, part of that is because we obviously get all the content
Now
that we
it's
produced
louder.
for the campaign. We get to make all the in-game versions of that.
Yeah.
That obviously adds quite a lot. But we did want to make sure that we weren't just being like, okay, so we're adding a bunch of bosses. Like, we wanted to make sure that the more epic ones that we added to the campaign have some new mechanic for them on the Atlas as well. So that's where we had those various mechanics with, like the sandstorm and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Like, those kind of like Atlas events. And it really does contribute to the feeling of exploration to have more of that stuff. And then, of course, once you got that, you start getting into, okay, well, what rewards is it going to drop? Then we started to think we need a new category of rewards that these things can have. And that's, we started to think about the lineage supports and that kind of stuff. So it just ended up kind of adding up to quite a bit in the end. But yeah, it isn't like kind of like the big end game change that we wanted to do. Like, we had a design for that, but we just kind of haven't quite got to it. So, but it still ends up being quite a lot. And one of the big things that it also, I think, will help bridge is the kind of mid-end game part. Like that's still a problem that we want to improve. But yeah, like it adds quite a lot there, because you're seeing that stuff on the Atlas a bit earlier.
What's the problem there as you identify it?
I mean, you've got this issue where effectively, and we are doing some stuff to address this, but effectively you've got like the pinnacles at the end, and you've got like obviously when you start you've got a bunch of content, but it doesn't feel like there's those kind of.
I'm thinking through the presentation. Monumental update for PoE 2. Okay, no new classes, no new ascendancies. All right, that's fine. Okay, that's fine. There's a lot of classes to play. Act 4. So you have Act 4. You have sprinting, but you fall down if you get hit. You've got an upgrade to trade. You have Abyss. New items, new support gems, a remaster, a rework of support gems. Obviously, being able to craft more often during the campaign. You've got some end game stuff with sandstorms and hurricanes. Okay, let me rephrase. When I wake up on the beach and I gotta kill all the wolves, is it gonna be more fun? Like what? Like what? What?
The difficulty, the access to the different difficulties, by having it so that it's cheaper to get to the lower tier ones. So that helps quite a lot, and I think that'll improve things quite a lot even just from that. So yeah,
And
like
of course you got the league now in in-game as
yep,
well.
and of course there's
It's
a
not-
league there too.
The Wisps were Wisps.
No,
Sure, wasn't
Yeah.
really a
That's
league.
my problem.
It's kind of
Yeah.
just
No.
like was
Not a
not
full-fledged
what we've
league
done
mechanic.
before. And a lot of people in PoE2 may not really even know what a league is. I mean, we kind of had it with Dawn of the Hunt, but yeah, I mean, having Abyss in every single area.
It's more fun and
there
more
are
confusing.
Abyssal icons you can find on the map. You can't add them because they are in every area, the Abyss. So, and you have, different the waystone crafting and stuff like that. So there's a lot of in-game just added by the league's existence as well.
Plus a lot more combination of the league mechanic with other mechanics as well, which is something that I'm always keen for with leagues, is like have a bit more interaction.
Yeah,
So,
you were telling me that you had specifically made it so that Abyss would have specific interactions with basically.
I'm making an announcement now. I will play POE 2. I don't know if I'll play the launch of POE 2, but we will play it. To see if it feels different.
And it's a guaranteed. That's part of a league mechanic. But does this also have like Atlas tree integration?
Cajun, don't bring Linda into this.
A core element?
No, not the way that's kind of handled is through some of the waystone crafting.
Yeah. Okay.
We, depending when the league ends, you know, we obviously do the whole, again, more for people who maybe don't know what a league is and how we handle this stuff in POE 1. I'll over-explain it a little bit. But yeah, generally we review the state of it at the end. We see what changes we want to make. Sometimes we add it to the core game immediately, sometimes later. And then we add it to the tree and decide how we want to invest into all the different things. But we try and have the meta progression, so to speak, of a league within the league.
Farva. When you evade, if you hold spacebar, you start sprinting. And if you get hit, your character falls down. That's a real thing in POE 2. It's real.
Exactly
bit
like
different because it's not a separate tree. And that was during Necropolis, yes. And it felt like because it's in every area, you have to take it.
Yes, exactly.
So that didn't work. We're not going to repeat that mistake. It could be a separate tree, but we just did it through the waystone crafting stuff instead, and you can invest in the Abyss and juice the Abyss that way. And
I mean, we'll see how we fold it all in as we go into the 040, though. Like, that'll be an interesting one.
All right. Well, one of the kind of like, I guess, endgame issues that I've identified in the past was kind of how the Atlas trees worked and progressed and what they afforded. And it felt very top heavy. Like you had to beat the boss to get points to just scale.
Well, that's what I'm talking about with the lack of mid-game stuff, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So that's changed now, though. Like the league mechanics don't scale difficulty of bosses at all. They're just about what the content is in maps.
Yeah,
right?
and you get the points way earlier. So, in fact, you even...
Some of them, we made some changes to that actually as well since last night. And thus it wasn't in the live stream accurately. It was talking about how you have to complete specific objectives like killing the Delirium boss and whatnot to get your points. It's actually just now you follow the quest line, and there's a point in where you get the tablet, which is after you find the league and you kill the, just do a Delirium, you successfully go back and get a tablet. You're also going to get the first 2 points there. Now I wanted to change it so that you can get like... if we have 8 points, you get 4 points before the pinnacles and 4 points from the pinnacles. Right now it's 2 and 6. We're still looking at this just because we made a change last night. There's a good chance we might end up, adapting this a little bit more. So it's even, the first 2 points come even sooner and even more obviously. Like you don't have to RNG into finding a boss in order to get those first 2 points now, which was mentioned there. No longer going to be the case.
But we just want to really make sure we're smoothing that progression through, getting that stuff earlier, all that sort of stuff.
So the other thing, was you've got this kind of world map. It seems to be exploration focused. The recent updates you did in Daughter of the Hunt actually, I felt were a big step forwards in that regard. There was a lot more exploration with the new unique maps, and even towers. I felt like when you're using them as an exploration feature, work quite well. Like they leapfrog you to your next. You see that next unique map over the hills, and that's like a cool motivator that pulls you through, and that helps with that mid game issue you were talking about. Is that kind of the goal, is to make this like really exploration focused?
It's certainly something that I really love, and the more things you add to the Atlas, the more it feels like you're finding things. But yeah, so we definitely appreciate the concern with towers being that you've got this.
And again, I just have to hit this home. I'm not a POE 2 hater. We'll play it. I put 300 hours into this and made multiple build guides and added it to actionrpg.com as a game, which I plan on covering. Their marketing is so good. Every update like this, this is insane. This is the best ever. Like, I bet I can go to Twitter X right now and
It's
read.
Gonna be some sort of maybe just delete towers because we have the bad association with it.
That is a concern, but I suspect that we'll still want to keep them at least for just vision. Like even if we remove the mechanic and do other stuff, like we'll just keep them there. So I still think it's fun to just find a tower just to get a circle of vision around it. So I don't think that's the part that people are unhappy about with them. So therefore it'd be fine to keep that and move like other power sources and other things that you can do somewhere else.
And I even like the empowering the maps, because that is an element of control, which is another thing people.
Well, I mean, I still want something that does that. I just think that it needs to work differently than how it works.
I guess the issue seems to come down to, from what I see,
W after W, holy shiz, huge W.
The issue, as I see it, is about that feeling that you need to be stacking tower mechanics on top of other stuff. And if you're not kind of bringing all those things together, then it feels like you're wasting time.
My fundamental issue with them is the way that you know that something sucks before you even run it, and that's always bad.
Yeah.
Like effectively, it's like, okay, like if you're running maps that don't have a tower around them, you're like, okay, well I know this is bad, or and so I feel bad because like I just have to get to the next tower, and then like when you've done one tower, but you know that 2 tower overlapping is a thing, then you're like, okay, well I feel bad running a 1 tower overlap thing when I know that 2 tower stuff is a thing as well. So there's just this problem of like, you know that it sucks beforehand, and I think that's never a good thing. Like it's actually the opposite of the action RPG philosophy of like, the reason you have random drops is because like, you know, any monster could be the one that drops the next thing.
Exactly.
And if you don't have that, then it's like you feel bad for playing the content because you know it's not the best already. So you need that like random element more. So there needs to be some adjustment to make that better.
Yeah. Do you think that's like bringing up what the base map experience can be in terms of its upper potential, like adding more interesting confluence of variants?
I mean, look, I always like more interesting combinations of stuff to happen, but I don't necessarily think that the core problem is like lack of ability to juice things. Like I think the core problem is to do with the fact that like you don't, like, you know when it already sucks, as I said. Like, it's just kind of like that thing there. So we need to sort of like, there will need to be some approach to solving the, making it more controllable, like you know, more deterministic in some way, like, you know, just something along those lines so that you can, so that you don't have this feeling of like, because of, you know, because of a thing I can already see that sucks, that this experience is going to be worse than what I'm hoping for.
So, somewhat related to this, another thing I see brought up all the time is being able to kind of choose what map you're doing and just being able to exert more elements of control. I saw a post in chat just there that was like the idea of being able to kind of erect a tower where you want it, rather. Like, is this element of like being able to control or choose your maps a little bit more, or have a bit more influence on what's happening?
So I think having control over what content is there is good.
All ships.
But I don't know that I want to lose the fact that you still have the Atlas fundamentally where you like the actual map areas you get are random, and part of the reason for that is that it gives us a lot of opportunities to do interesting things with you know, like different maps can have different things that they drop and other stuff like that. Like there's a lot of that sort of stuff that's like quite nice. Like you can actually have a unique map be way more powerful if like it's kind of, you don't know exactly when you'll encounter it. So that kind of stuff is quite nice, and we want to do a lot more as well on the Atlas, like just more stuff to find. Like when we get to 040, I really want it to be that like, you know, you really feel like there's just cool stuff in every map that you might be finding that's like you know, that's way more interesting. And as I said, that stuff, if you,
Rising Tide
the problem is if you have full control over literally being able to run the same map every single time, like the same like base area, it means that you don't have the ability to say, okay, well this map can randomly have this thing that's just like really awesome that, you know, always drops a unique or something like that, because then you're just going to run that map over and over and over. So I still like some ability to have to find the good stuff in the Atlas, but we just need more control over what mechanics you can spawn there and that kind of stuff, and like not having the experience of like, if I didn't get this exact overlap, then I have this bad experience.
And that's where exploration actually comes from as well, is having some element of not having that control as well. So maybe it is the case more of just keeping, like, juicing up that exploration aspect of it even more. Anyway, that's what I'm. It already felt like a big improvement with that last one, and we're getting the new maps and the new mechanics and things scattered in the zones as well. So it seems like there's a fair bit more going on.
The main point, like, we did what we could, 100%. And you know, 040 expect a lot more improvements there. But again, we focus more on everything else. There's a, you know, an insane amount of content there. You know, it's we wish Towers was in that list, but it will be. Don't worry. These things are coming. We're aware of the problems. We are aware, like 100%. You know, it was expected when we got to that section to see a bunch of.
And I think a lot of people are going to be getting a chance to experience some stuff they didn't experience because it came later in last league, and maybe they had tapped out before then. So there's a good bit of extra stuff to explore there, maybe with this one. We'll loop back around to Endgame if people have more questions that they post and that we pull from the chat. But we'll move on to the Act 4 and the interludes, because that's a pretty big thing. Obviously, getting rid of Cruel was a priority. You wanted to do that as soon as possible. There's been this problem that you were laboring over for many months about how to do that, how to add Act 4 without having to add the rest of the acts all at once, or do some weird thing.
Yeah.
Well, you've come up with making more acts to solve the problem
Yep.
instead of
So there was certainly some skepticism when I first proposed this about like how can we possibly do that? But basically, the main thing there was that so the interludes
not
are
add
not
swords.
exactly the same as an act in terms of like each one of them is like a straight line, like you're going from here to here. There's no different. There's no complexity around the plot or anything. It's just like a single goal of someone's telling you to do this, go deal with it. There's bosses along the way. There's new areas along the way, but all of that stuff we can use in in-game as well. So that means we're not kind of wasting any of the arts. The only thing we're really wasting is like a kind of like a little bit of like storyline structure around it. But as I said, it's not nearly the same level of like narrative structure as what you get in like a full act. And that's something that. And ultimately, what we realize is to get from the end of Act 4 to the end game level, all you need is like 20 areas roughly to kind of to bridge that gap. And so that means that I was like, you know what, like with 20 areas, I reckon we can do it if we're like, we're using a few mechanics from maps, we're taking some, we're doing a lot of art reuse, that kind of stuff. Like we can find a way to make something pretty quick, and it won't necessarily hold up for like years and years, but it will certainly be good enough for just like for a relatively short period of time. And by the time you get to that point anyway, like you're usually pretty fast as a character. You're like rushing through, just to get to end game. So I think that that'll end up being like pretty damn good for the time being. Plus, new bosses, new stuff to experience. Like, in my opinion, it was a no-brainer to do it compared to some weird thing like having to repeat Act 1 and 2 again or something weird like that. Like that just wouldn't have been good. And we really wanted to get rid of Crawl. I mean, like we never wanted Crawl to exist, right? It existed as a compromise. So being able to get rid of it is obviously something we were very, very keen to do.
Yeah, there was something. You get to the Act 1 Crawl and you're like, I've know all this content. You're ultra powerful, and that's a little bit feel good. And then you're like, doing all this again. It's just like a little bit like. Just you can do it. At that point you're like, just get me to end game, like Whereas when you're playing through, the new acts, like it feels. Well, with Act 4 and the interlude, it feels just a lot more natural and, still fun, and you're discovering stuff, and, it's not that just like, I just did this, like, for, at least for fast players as well, they're going to be like, oh my God, I just did this like a few hours ago. It's like just too short of a time. But one thing about Act 4 and the interlude, by the way, which I think is really cool, which is very different, and something, you don't really appreciate until you play, is you get to Act 4 and you're like, okay, where do I go? Well, I have many places I can pick. I mean, Jonathan was talking about how they're kind of interludes are kind of straight lines, but there's three of them.
But there's three of them. You can do.
You can.
them in any order.
There's a choice immediately there, right?
You can do those.
You can do them in any order.
You can do them in any order. When you complete one or partially complete one, it levels up the other two. They always stay, ahead, and they bridge the gaps. You can do them in whatever order you want.
It'll be interesting to see the speedrunning strategies because there's different bonuses available.
Like the spirit draft comes from one.
Yeah. Okay.
Where another might be more passive point heavy and another might be more permanent bonus heavy, and another, there's going to be all kinds of crazy stuff going on there. So you go in Act 4 where you've got full freedom of like choice of which island you want to sail to, and then you go into the interlude and you're like, which part would serve me best? And maybe the answer is do a couple areas of this part and then swap to another and do that one, and then like who knows? Which is fine because again, as you progress through them and defeat the bosses, the other ones will level up and keep up with the level. So you can do half of each and then do the half of each again. You can do an area of each, and then
That's wild. I didn't realize the interludes were sandboxy like that, because I was planning on asking about how the fact that Act 4 is like a sandbox for like the great portion of it there, and that's going to be super interesting from like racing and speedrunning perspective as to what people take. But also that does seem like it might help with the campaign slog, the repetitiveness of it if you can kind of do things in a different order each time. Is there some good reasons to
Aaron,
do
you
it in
look
different
bored?
orders as well? Like you mentioned, like differences in rewards,
Yeah,
differences
Just
in challenges
relaxing,
too, I
trying to
imagine,
finish
different
this
builds?
theory crap.
Yeah, for
While
sure.
Listening,
So, like
while
the
listening.
reward thing is probably the main reason you'd change the order, depending on what's going to work best for your character right now. So, yeah, each one has got stuff that like we're taking all the different fixed bonuses. I think that actually the fixed bonuses are different a little bit now, aren't they, than the way that they were when they were in Crawl? Did you change what stats they were? I thought you did. Yeah, I thought you did.
The passive point number is the same.
Yeah.
The spirit is the same, but the other bonuses, we've kept like, we'll still have the resistances that you got before, but some of the other bonuses from like, for example, Crawls, the snake in Act 3. I can't remember the name of these areas. We have internal names, the old snake chamber. The reward from that will be slightly different because not all 3 of those options are available, and they're available in different ways. Some of it might be, some of it might not be, and some of it will be in Act 4, some of it might be in the interlude, you know. So it's kind of mix and match all over the place, but there's some pretty cool stuff in the interludes that, you know, you've obviously got your permanent bonuses, you've got your skill points, you've got just like which bosses do I want to do first or last. That's all nice, but you have a lot of other things subtle. You know, like the first area of one of them, I'm gonna be as spoiler light as possible here, has a wandering vendor that sells, you know, guaranteed rare caster gear, and you can go and be like, I'm gonna go there, check that if I'm a caster, and then I'll go to the other 2 acts because that might have like a straight up weapon upgrade. And then there's another act that sells a whole bunch of greater runes, and so you might be like, I need some runes, I'm going to go there, find that vendor, get some runes, and then go to another. And then one of them has, and you're going to have to find this for yourself, one of them has a nameless seer in it, and so go for it, find that. And I'm not going to tell you which.
So do you know in advance some of these rewards so that you can make this decision? Like maybe not those kind of secret ones. But
I think it doesn't. Does it say it on the? Does it show it to you on the world map?
I'm working on Scorpion.
You see the icons on the world map up to the point your character and the NPCs could reasonably know about.
Okay.
So it depends on the act a little bit. In some cases, it's like no humans have been there, so you can't know until you've opened it, and then it will, or until you have been told about it or know about it or advanced the quest, and now you see all the icons. So some yes, some not, and
maybe a bit of a discovery process.
But like, look, it's gonna players are gonna share information pretty damn quickly. But yeah, it's actually quite fun having all this different choice and different axes, and we haven't had this level of like, sure, you've got Path of Exile 1 Act 2 is go left or go right, and you got a little bit of that in like Act 8, but you don't get this much like parallel things going on like this in a kind of interesting way. So it'll be, I suspect it'll actually last a little bit longer than we anticipate, given how, you know, we had to put this kind of 3-part thing together so quickly.
Last a bit longer in terms of like players finding it fresh and interesting.
Yeah, that's the hope.
Okay, good.
All 3 interludes kind of appear on one world map, so you kind of got 3 parallel tracks you can see on one map.
Cool.
So yeah, that's how that works.
It's cool. Decision paralysis is going to set in. Where do I go?
I think a lot of people will just pick one just because it's the first one.
Yeah,
probably. I bet that'll be the most common
You'll
choice.
see stats on that, I'm sure.
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
like, 60% pick rate for the first option.
Yeah, probably.
Left to right's most likely.
It makes sense.
The order of the islands in Act 4 a little bit less predictable.
Yeah.
You know, one of those islands, like, you know, there's four permanent bonuses kind of going on in one area kind of thing. It's like a, you know, because
go there first.
I'm not going to tell you which ones, but
okay, I'll have to figure that one out, eh?
Someone will do it, figure it out.
Make the progression guides. But I like the idea that it could be different for different builds too. That would be very cool if that ends up being the outcome, because that will keep things fresh long term. There's a good reason to do it differently and doesn't just get kind of immediately solved. So Act 4 was planned to have a new way of ascending, but that wasn't mentioned here, so it's not quite ready yet.
Didn't quite get time for it. It'll be coming a bit later.
New trial.
You can there's still a quest to go to the place where that is happening. But and we added like a kind of another reward there. You know, just for the time being.
All mine.
But yeah, later on there'll be that. The amount of work required to make that trial just unfortunately wasn't quite compatible with making all of the other stuff we made. Probably if we hadn't made the interlude, we would have been able to do it.
I don't know.
But I think the interlude was more important just to get rid of Crawl. So we ended up making that decision. But we'll get to it.
Thank goodness. I'm like so stoked Crawl's gone.
If it's what most of us imagine it's going to be, I can imagine where a lot of that work comes in. So hopefully you guys, is it something that you'd like to get ready for next league then, it sounds like?
Well, I don't want to promise anything because at this point we're in the mode of like, we'll cut stuff if we need to make the release happen. So I wouldn't want to promise anything, but you know, that would be nice. We'll just have to see.
I guess the other question then is, do you think it'll be like different enough and appealing to people who don't necessarily want to ascend the other ways?
You still got to do the trials to ascend
by very significant margins. So I think that'll be interesting.
And what's the vision for how Ascendancy works long term then? So is it the idea that you ascend once in Act 2 once, and then again in Act 3, and then again in Act 4?
I mean, you will be
get
able to do
6
it that
points
way, but if
that
you
way?
want to do other, I mean, yeah, that's a way to do it. But if you want to, just if you like a certain trial better, doing it that way is also fine too.
It's just interesting because there's like not as much of a gap as there usually is between those first 6
Guess not.
points that way.
I
Like they're
guess
quite
not.
rapid fire. So and then it would be a big gap until the end game, and you do your choice of fourth one.
Yeah, I mean, I guess we see that as fine. Like you kind of want to get your build locked in to some degree by the time you get to that sort of
I
level.
kind of like it. It's just
Yeah, yeah.
different to how it's been done in the past before,
Right.
where we had, whereas like right at end game you did that third one. So that's interesting stuff. So a big part of this obviously is then continuing the campaign slog kind of discussion was just the speed of the campaign, how that tied in with difficulty,
Buy one,
zone sizes,
no.
and things like that. You guys did a whole bunch of big changes a couple weeks into the last league where you reduced zone sizes.
Yeah,
and things
yeah.
like
So we
that.
did a bit of that. That's one of those things that's a bit hard to see exactly until you've played it a couple of times.
Yeah.
So I like, for example, right now, like the first time you play through Act 4, I doubt you'll be worried about zone size. Second time, then it might then start to realize like what places are too big and what places aren't. So there'll probably be a little bit of adjustment to that even as we do the first couple of patches in 030 as well. Just because, like as I said, it's actually a bit hard to appreciate until you've kind of played it a few times. But the sprint helps a lot. Like sprint is a big deal as far as like changing how the game feels in this regard. So if you're fast and you know how to use it well and that kind of stuff, you can motor quite a lot more than you were. It'll be interesting to sort of see how how many people are using that all the time versus how many people are kind of just using it
all the time.
You have, well, yeah. But the thing is, you're an experienced POE player, right? Like you're gonna be.
But
like
like, there's a fun risk reward to using it that way, though. Like, if you are just using it to traverse or like backtrack or something because you go the wrong way or something like that, then it's pretty cruisy and it works well for that. But it also is a very powerful like combat tool. You can use it like a boss is doing something, you can get further away than you could before.
for boss stuff, you can, although it is dangerous, right? Like,
I mean, if you screw it up, then you get knocked down.
yeah. But I think the thing.
Okay, guys, do you guys want to keep listening to this?
Is that if you are overpowered due to getting a good item drop or something like that, you can kind of like motor through a couple of areas a bit more, like catch up to the point where you sort of feel about right as far as the difficulty, and then keep going from there, more specifically. So you've got that kind of tool at your disposal. Not something I would expect like new players to do, or like players who kind of don't want to engage with that stuff. But if you're talking about like the person who's playing through the campaign the first time, certainly that's an option.
How
that
much
you've got
longer?
That can kind of speed you through a little bit faster.
How long are these normally?
That's
Spidey,
something
how
as well
long
that
are
kind
they?
of does just because you are faster
Boring,
than basically
it's
everything. So
why do you have to wake me up?
You can skip past them.
There were a bit of like good players, like knowledge players knew how to move a lot quicker. There's a bunch of skills. You get animation cancelling. You got shield charge.
It's true. It's true. The speedrunners already have a way, but like no one really wants. Like, obviously, you don't want to be doing that all the time, right? Like unless you're like really dedicated to speedrunning. So.
Niche, unintuitive, and whatnot.
Exactly.
So like there's a simpler way to now close the gap between the players who knew all of that and the ones who didn't, and which is great. And maybe a lot of those players are still using all of those tools even on top of this, and that's fine.
I actually wonder if like the sprinting is faster than like the shield charge, dodge roll, animation cancel shenanigans.
Haven't exactly done a race. I think it's close. I'm pretty sure it's relatively close.
This
though.
is usually 1 to 2 hours.
I know there's some passives on the deck side of the tree for like slightly increasing your speed while sprinting, and a few other different things while sprinting, like increasing your evasion while sprinting, and so there's some of that going on as well. That maybe when you speak into all that, you have a more of an advantage over those other skills.
20 minutes.
See,
We actually buffed dodge roll a bit for the sprint too. Like
Q&A is normally 2+ hours
for longer during the dodge roll.
You can. So that one was, man, I'll tell you what. So this is kind of inside baseball stuff, but sprint was like way harder to implement than you might expect. Like it seems like you just add a speed buff, but like getting it to be smooth and like feel right, and like all of the stuff around like the turning at the end and like all that stuff, that was really really hard to do. Like there was like a programmer for a very long time just working on sprint issues. Like holy crap. So yeah, like it's one of those things that like every little imperfection that you do it so often needs to be ironed out.
I'm looking forward to stacking move speed and dodge roll distance in Sanctums and using sprint. I use sprint in the Sanctum and I was testing earlier. And it's so fun doing some of the things with sprint. It's like with like mega long dodge rolls into sprinting is gonna so fast.
Yeah, I mean we've in general just improved mobility. We've improved and even outside of that, it's like talking about sprint, slog, fast. Like there's more to it. There's obviously dodge rolling is improved. The mercenary like slow while reloading, but also something like Jonathan and I both just randomly did one day, just logged in on live. We played mercenary and we were both just like,
what happened?
What did we do? What has gone on here?
Well, I
this
believe
feels terrible.
It was the 0-0 change that related to like contact points or something. There was something like that I think broke it.
So
because the thing is, it wasn't actually feeling like how it felt before we released.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh crap, we need to fix this. Something went wrong drastically there. That one really improved it. But we also made a change where you're a little bit faster coming out of when you're using a skill while moving.
Yeah,
you're a little bit faster coming out on all classes. So that actually affects the ranger and the sork as well a little bit. It's not like at first it seems quite subtle. Like if you, but when you play it side by side, it actually makes quite a difference, even though it's a relatively subtle change. Like it worked as well. And then you've got things like with the block being faster. Like you're just overall more mobile. With a lot of the stuff. Like I think it's helped a lot. But the nice thing is like we still didn't have to compromise on like making sure the combat still was right. So that's obviously been like a thing, a big worry, especially because there's so many other buffs and things for other character classes. Like there is definitely a concern that we've like overcooked, gone too far. Like things are, like things are going to be too easy, and I'm a bit worried about it. But I think it should be okay. We just have to.
You mentioned like the way you've designed this, not meaning you didn't have to compromise on like combat and that, and that was a big hesitance for you. Like you really wanted combat to be not optional in the past. You were talking about before,
for sure.
And things like that. So why does it feel like the way you designed this lets you not compromise on that vision?
Because ultimately, the actual combat itself still
compromise on the vision.
And generally speaking, like even though I may not necessarily agree with something, I'm still willing to try these things. So we tried it. It works. That's really it comes down to, right? So that as long as that's the case, then then I'm cool with it. I just want to make sure that we don't end up in a situation where we're just it's all just like. Even during the campaign, it's just one button, don't have to worry about anything, like there's no challenge anywhere, like that kind of stuff, because I just find that boring. I just don't enjoy it at all. Like I feel like you need to have some level of like actually having to think once in a while, during a boss fight or something like that. So there just has to be a little bit of that left over. Sometimes it can be the situation where
this was a good compromise, like 100%. It again, he spoke about how long it took for this programmer to work through it, let alone there's heaps of iterations with these kind of things, trying to keep things feel grounded, kinetic, realistic, that kind of stuff. So you're not just like, and animation wise as well, there's a whole bunch. So, when you're taking a chance on a thing like that and, it feels like a compromise and you're uneasy about it, I'm glad we did pull the trigger on this one and give it a go, because sometimes it is like knowing how much resources this is going to take. If this fails, it's a massive waste.
Because there was another one that was like hugely contentious, which was removing the limit of 1 per support gem. Was something that took a bit of convincing to even get people to want to try out. Like that was definitely a worry. Like the concern there is just that isn't it just going to be that everyone's running the 5 same supports on every single thing? But I was kind of like the amount of. I think what we're losing over this is much worse than what we were gaining. It's something really important, and so I actually now that we've done that, I wouldn't have it any other way. I think it's really, really good change, and that one is, in my opinion, the most important change we're making in 030.
Today was supposed to be only a couple hours of streaming to test everything before tomorrow's subathon. I love all of you dearly, but if you want to continue watching the interview, I have to send you somewhere else. I'm sorry. We are done with the Ziggy D interview. I'm going to explain Cold Scorpion and call it a day. Thank God. No. For the people wanting to watch it, I apologize. We're done with the interview for now. I want to get some rest today and relax and If this thing really goes for another hour, 90 minutes, that's not going to happen. That is not gonna happen. Oh boy, Cold Scorpion. First off, I said it. I don't know if you guys heard it. Ugh, I am totally down. And honestly, I don't know. Maybe I am getting sold by other creators and you guys. Watching that, there was nothing in there that was like injected me with instant excitement of the biggest patch I've ever seen. There are some people claiming that is literally there is people claiming the greatest update in the history of action RPGs was just revealed. Maybe it's good. Maybe it's even great. That is certainly a claim. But yeah, I mean, we'll play some PoE 2 and see if the pacing feels better, if crafting feels better, if campaign and endgame feel better. That doesn't mean I'm going to play PoE 2 launch, but we will check out the new update. So that's kind of where I'm at with that. As far as PoE 2. So yeah. Just wait for Zizarin to make the highlight reel. That's what I should do. How is the better than season 3 of LE? So grinding gear games, whether you want to admit it or not, are experts. Maybe the best marketers they are. There is. They can talk about the new end game. They could talk about the new support gems. They could talk about the new skills. They could talk about the new nodes and passive tree. And they're really good at like making it seem like, I'm not saying there isn't, but making it seem like there's just so much. Like the whole game's going to be different. And maybe it is. But we'll see. I don't know. I mean, they're just really good at marketing is what I'm trying to say.
What? No way.
Hearing monumental and unprecedented sounds like I'm watching the news. Maybe it'll be good. We'll see. We'll play it and check it out. Okay. So here is where we are at. Oh my gosh. It's like, this is literally making me feel sick. In 18 hours, 18 hours. In 18 hours, we kick off season 3 Beneath Ancient Skies for Last Epoch. Which means Subathon 4 kicks off in like 16 and a half hours. Time flies. One more sleep. One more sleep. Now, I will say, this is going to be really interesting. Knowing that PoE 2 comes out in 8 days or 9 days from today, with their patch notes dropping, I am wondering, because current sentiment is the biggest update ever, how much this is going to affect Last Epoch. We're gonna have to wait and see. I would guess it's not going to affect it in a positive light. But we'll see how the first week goes. Beastmaster Frogger? Frogger should be interesting. I think we might get a lot of players hyped waiting for PoE 2. Maybe. I don't see it affecting LE negatively. All LE for me. Beastmaster Dragon. If I was LE, I would delay my release 2 weeks to let PoE flop again. You think PoE 2 is going to flop? PoE 2 community is going nuts. I expect 2 weeks LE tanks. You know, it's funny. There's a lot of people that always question, does retention of the action RPG actually matter after the first week or 2 weeks? So, you know, supporter pack sales, cosmetic sales, game sales, how much is sold within the first 2 weeks of a season versus the 3.5 months after? I would love to see that statistic. I would love to see that. Because I always wonder, like, you know, we will talk about player retention, but I wonder if the studios actually, you know, care at all. I would love to see that statistic. I'm going to dabble in an Avalanche Scorpion, then probably Upheaval Sabretooth. Nice. I mean, I would venture to guess over 90%, I'm going to say 90% of all revenue is generated within the first 2 weeks. And then the other 3.5 months is like 10%. It might even be more, maybe like 92, 93%. It's my guess, but I don't know. Safe bet. Also, if you guys did not see, this was dropped today and it is now saved on my desktop. EHG came out and announced that I did not see this. 3 million copies sold of Last Epoch. 3 million. We were saying 2 million. 3. Let's go. I sold at least 5 of them. Nice. If Aaron is free, he'd have Golemancer first, maybe. $3 million. I don't know. There's like 20 people. I don't know. I've gotten a lot of interactions on X because EHG posted this, and then I replied, "I'm told on stream daily this game is dead, so this can't be right." And people are having a pretty good laugh about it. 3 million copies sold. It's pretty cool. Pretty cool. I'll be playing LE, not interested in POE 2. How do you like your chair, Aaron? I like it. I like it. I like it. Okay, so let's talk about what I've been working on all day today. Just to be clear, dead game is a big zombie, right? I have been working on a Scorpion today. Why am I working on Scorpion? Scorpion got a big update. And what makes Scorpion special? Well, it can now auto-trigger Avalanche, and it can auto-trigger Maelstrom. And technically, it doesn't auto-trigger Maelstrom. When you get a Maelstrom, so does your Scorpion. Okay? Now, Scorpion can be cold, Avalanche can be cold, Maelstrom can be cold, Thorn Totem can be cold, and Warcry can be cold. So these are my 5 skills I selected. So basically, we jump around and literally manually cast Maelstrom while making Warcry, which also makes Maelstrom. Now, there's only one problem that I have with this build. When I see this, I don't think of Frostbite. I think of crit. I see this as a crit build. So Avalanche, Thorn Totems, critting minions. Maelstrom, you're not going to get any crit from it. So I'm not sure. Maybe that's like our clear speed or something like that. We got a freeze for the fantasy. But I feel like it has perfect synergy. So your Scorpion will be running around. Its melee hits will be auto-triggering Avalanche, so you have to do nothing. Avalanche is converted into cold, and we're taking every multiplicative damage we can get from it. So your Scorpion is dropping avalanches, maximum of 2 times per, 2 times a second? Wait, this effect can occur a limited number of times per 2 seconds, 3 times. So you can trigger avalanche 3 times every 2 seconds. It's kind of weird. So your Scorpions run around, triggering avalanches. You are casting Maelstrom. Warcry is casting Maelstrom. And Warcry is giving your Scorpion a 200% critical strike multiplier, 250% more damage, 100% chill chance. And then you are auto-triggering Thorn Totems through the 1 chance on hit to summon a Thorn Totem of Maelstrom. And your Thorn Totems are Armor Shredding, also spec'd into Cold Spell Minion, boosting its spell and base spell. So you got 5 totems, shooting, Maelstrom hitting, Avalanche dropping, Scorpion hitting, and Warcry buffing it all with insane multiplicative damage. I feel like it'll work. I looked over it, I don't know, 10. I think I looked over it 10 different times. We're using double Apogee of Frozen Light. This is going to give up to 50% multiplicative damage to your minions. And we're putting T7 minion melee minion spell. Lots of button smashes. So that's what's so interesting about this, is it's not button smashes. Avalanche is automated and totems is automated. So that's, and you obviously, you don't have to do anything with Scorpion. So 3 of these, you do nothing. Warcry, you hit. So like obviously you trigger Warcry. And then your spam ability is you're just making Maelstrom. And then you get a free movement skill with Leap where you jump around. It's actually, if done correctly, you maybe not even need to spam Maelstrom. You just use Warcry. I actually think it's like a 2-button build. It looks like a lot. We're boosting melee attack speed for the Scorpion to drop more Avalanche. We're getting 4 to skills and 8% critical strike chance through Phantom Grips. So on here, we also don't have a Primordial. We don't have a Primordial. I think Dedicated to the Race is better for slow chance and multiplicative damage for the Scorpion that's slow. We're using Inheritance, which is going to be our single minion Scorpion, which is going to get hit with this. We're bringing down our mana chance when we want to manually cast our Maelstrom and alt attributes. We're getting damage reduction with Mantle of the Pale Ox. And then this, I like to think, is like my stat stick. So Mask of Indifference isn't designed for this build because this can be universally used. We're going to be immune to Blind, Bleed, Slow, Chill, Shock, and Stun. It's going to take care of 100% of our damage reduction. It's going to give us base endurance, base armor. But it's not required. You could put on a T8 affix if you wanted to. Or switch this out if you wanted to use the... Yeah, I'm just saying it's not required. It's just like, all right, I actually made the full build. And then I was looking at it like, we do not have a Primordial. T-Rex doesn't make sense. I don't want T-Rex. No rings that I saw, no amulet that I saw, no weapon. So I was like, wait, what are we going to use? I was like, we could put a T8 affix on the belt. And then I was like, no, Mask of Indifference feels perfect. That feels perfect. Hey, Raven, thank you for the raid. Welcome, everybody. Let me give you a shout out, sir. Oh, you did? Thank you. So yeah, that's what I came up with. That's what I came up with. Why Totem over Storm Bolts converted to Cold? So I first had in Storm Bolts. It's exactly what I had, and then Maelstrom's making them. Okay, so when your Scorpion is triggering Avalanche and Maelstrom, the Avalanche Boulder uses your Scorpion stats, but your Avalanche's tree. The Maelstrom cast by your Scorpion this way uses your Scorpion stats, but your Maelstrom tree. That means that when Scorpion, follow me for a second, is using Avalanche and Maelstrom, these 2 skills basically are now minion skills. So now they're minion skills because the Scorpion is using them. Okay? Minion, 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 buffing cold minion, including cold damage for minion. So if you put on Storm Bolts, non-minion, it's not a minion. So you would have 4 minion skills and 30 damage from Gathering Storm. So what do? Well, you automate the totems. Why? It's a minion. It's a spell minion. It scales with attunement. It takes care of all of your armor shred. And it has perfect synergy automated through the totem. Does that make sense? Big brain? That's my thought. You could do other stuff too. You could put down Storm Totem and give it Blizzard. And then it's like, you have to manually push it. I like that this takes care of our armor shred. And it'll do okay damage based upon us buffing the multiplicative and the base spell. Can you link this build when you're done? Sure. I like this. Just concentrate on minion stacking. Correct. Yep. That's okay. So it's the exact same tech as why people are so over the moon on Summon Bear Beastmaster, triggering earthquakes. I don't even remember where the hell it is. Down here, making earthquakes, because your bear, same thing. Earthquake used by your bear stats, but your earthquake's tree. That means the multiplicative damage on earthquake is now basically converted to minion earthquake multiplicative damage, and you combine all the multiplicative damage on earthquake with all the multiplicative damage on bear, and it's insane. So you can use that exact same tech with Scorpion and Avalanche and Maelstrom. But Maelstrom's not going to crit because it's a damage over time. So that is the only, like, if Maelstrom, you could convert it out of damage over time so it was crit, this would be insane. This is part of the minion improvements. Yeah, that just minions triggering your ability and being able to use double trees is something they used to do back in the day. It was so broken that they got rid of it, and now they brought it back. No, I think Avalanche would be the main damage dealer. Avalanche should be insane. Because again, you're taking all the multiplicative damage from Scorpion with all the multiplicative damage from Avalanche, combining it, and that's going to be the large boulder that it drops 3 times every 2 seconds. But we have to wait and see. Maelstrom will still be good, but that's likely going to be like your map clear. The Scorpion should just run through the map, not even needing to hit anybody. Because, again, you're going to get all the multiplicative damage from Scorpion and 50%, 40% here. An additional, what is this? Up to 160% multiplicative here. All of that is added to there. Did you try the Primordial Ring that allows you to wear multiple sets, can get Avalanche on crit too? Yeah, I was thinking about that. But, we have to give up a Phantom Grip. This is 2 to skills and 4% base crit, which you technically could do. And then you wouldn't use a weapon. You'd have to give up your Relic slot, which is 5 to Avalanche. And this gives an additional 15% multiplicative damage and slows all targets. It just didn't make sense. This helmet, everybody, the reason why you never hear about this helmet is it's not build enabling. For me, there is 2 items in the game that if you do not have a primordial that is best in slot, it's really good. From just, you don't have to worry about critical strikes. You don't have to worry about blind, bleed, slow, chill, shock, or stun with base armor, with base endurance, and this is an easy 2 LP. You use this or you use Reliquary's Nest to boost all your idols. The Avalanche on crit is kind of low, to be honest. We'll have to see. Yeah, so you can cast 3 every 2 seconds, right? The question is, Matthew, the question is dropping an avalanche boulder, is it going to hit like a meteor? That's the question. If it's dropping one every 0.7 seconds or whatever it is, does it hit like it should hit like it should hit like a train, like a freaking. The effect can occur a limited number of times per 2 seconds. So it can drop 3 avalanche boulders every 2 seconds. I think it's going to drop harder than a meteor. Oh, yeah. Would Reliquary's Nest plus aspect to the boar idols be decent? No, not for this build. What a lot of people miss about this is that it's a Scorpion build. So if you ask 90% of people, what is that? 90% of people would say Beastmaster. This is not a Beastmaster build. It's a Shaman build. We are a Shaman. Why? You can't use Avalanche as a Beastmaster. So what does that mean? You don't have access to this half of the passive tree. All aspects have increased duration. And companions gain aspect of the boar when you do. Can't give aspect of the boar to him. Yeah, the tooltips, it took me a second. I needed to read it a couple times because the tooltips, yeah. You can cast 3 avalanche boulders every 2 seconds. So yeah, that's the build. This is what we cooked up. Cold Scorpion. There. There. Bam. Okay. Oh, I miss Lich. We need more lists. Why isn't this on actionrpg.com yet? Well, one, I made it today. I made it during the POE stream. Not saying I wasn't paying attention to the POE stream. I paid attention. I was just multitasking and listening while making this to make sure I had everything. Aaron, will you be able to sleep tonight? I'm going to try my best. Okay. I'm going to go through all the scenes really quick, everybody. I'm going to do a test for Subathon. I'm going through all the scenes. Countdown, I saw it. Will you get out of here? Just kidding. You don't have to leave. Dude, fence cam looks good. Look at that. That's the best the fence cams ever looked. Look at that. That looks clean, right? That's the nature camera, everyone. Aaron's removing time from the clock. He's cheating. Oh, brother. Ah, now it's pointed straight, not angled. Yeah, I fixed it. Mode, edged, wipe the fence clean, minus. You guys can kind of see it. Under the smiley face, you could see the old skull that my wife... A squirrel! Under the green smiley face, you can see the green... You could see the outline of the skull my wife drew last time. It's still there. Like, it's just on the fence forever. You kind of got to squint your eyes to see it. You see it? Yeah. And that's Mia's green smiley face. Hey, look, the clock's working. Somebody put in a blurb. It went up 15 seconds. See? Okay. Subathon tools are in. We have our new playlist of songs. This is the Subathon 2 song. Subathon 3.
Yo, lights, flash, cams on. Time to engage.
And tomorrow we will unveil Subathon 4. Dude, there's so many new songs Brow has put on here. How many? I can't even find Subathon 4 now. How many songs? Subathon 4. They are also good. Got the music ready. Clock is ready. What time are you starting tomorrow? Tomorrow I'm going to walk my daughter to the bus around 8:30. Get home and boot up the stream. At bare minimum. I don't know why I do this to myself. It'll be an hour before launch, which would mean 16. Stream will boot up in 16 hours. Bear sounds good. Oh, brother. Spell bear. Guys, will you stop it? I'm already too tired for you guys to start doing this. You miss ice thorns? Okay. That all looks good. Aaron's so grizzed up, he can't stop talking about bears. Here we go. All right. Subathon goals sheet. Subathon goals sheet. You guys are going to be very sad about one thing. You're going to be very sad about one thing. Unfortunately, no hog. No fishing with hog. We weren't able to sync up with that. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry. I know. Very sad. Okay, hold on. Let me remove some stuff so you could actually see. What? Add 200 days. Of course I tried. Okay. Subathon 4 goal sheet. Now, let me first start by saying every day we will draw a game giveaway. Every Wednesday will be movie night. So we didn't put, normally on here we'll put movie nights, we'll put game giveaways, and like all that stuff will still be happening every day, but we didn't want to do two different sheets. So Subathon 4 goals sheet. All right. Hold on one second. Okay. 500 subs, hat giveaway. 1,000 subs. Hoodie giveaway. 2,000 subs, community game night. 3,000 subs, triple game giveaway. 4,000 subs, Street Fighter Madness. 5,000 subs, Dino Lawn Care. 6,000 subs, Goodwill Outfit. 7,000 subs, Raptor Riverwalk. 8,000 subs, Paint Date Night. 9,000 subs, Gold Panning. 10,000 subs, Dino Museum with Tech. 10,000 subs is me flying to Canada to go to the world-renowned Dino Museum and streaming the Dino Museum. 11,000 subs, Going Bald 2.0. 12,000 subs, giving away a T-Rex skull. We're giving away a T-Rex skull. 15,000 subs, flying to San Antonio, Texas for dinner with Judd. 20,000 subs, Last Epoch tattoo. 35,000 subs, delete legacy character. And then the joke, 50,000 subs, Costa Rica cruise, hunting for dinos, where I'm required to be live for the cruise. Damn, the skull giveaway is bad. Yeah, it's cool. It's like a $500 T-Rex skull. On top of this, game giveaways every single day. Movie nights every single Wednesday. And if you guys want it more, we can. The wife said she wants to take over more. We just didn't want to put stuff like that on there. Don't forget about your daily Core Punk streams. That graphic slaps. You like it? I noticed something that's driving me crazy. You see this 4,000? It's not aligned. It's over one space too much. I can't stop looking at it. I didn't want to tell Guilty because Guilty put it together, but I can't stop looking at it. Graphic design is his passion. Now I can't stop looking at it. Now I can't unsee it. What have you done? What? I'm sorry. $50K is also not centered. Well, I mean, it's in between the two dinos, but that one's okay. That one's okay. The Action RPG Army. Okay, so this will be posted tomorrow, and we'll have a link for it. Everything is good to go. Which Street Fighter? What's the newest one? What's the newest one? Aaron is complaining again. I can't wait, Aaron. I'm glad. Should be a fun event. Aaron After Dark, chill jazz, maybe a couple nightcaps in there, some adult conversations, game nights, movie nights, giveaways, special guests. Should be good. Any ideas for movie night? I'm disgraced. I'll fix it. No. So when it comes to the donations, the clock will automatically add Kick and Twitch. Anything from YouTube, example, a YouTube membership, I'll have to manually add. But it doesn't, if it's a supporter pack purchase, I'm adding all of those to the clock. So I'll do that tonight. I told everybody if you get a supporter pack a week ago, those proceeds will go towards the clock. So all supporter packs, all cash donations, all bits, all blurps, all subs of every kind, and all subs of every kind among Kick, YouTube, and Twitch. So that's where we're at. Got it? Get it? Got it good? All right, everybody. That's it. I'm going to work on one more final video that I'm going to post in the morning. And then I'm just going to sit back and relax and try and get as much sleep as possible. Wake up, take a shower, take the kiddos to school, and then we'll be booting up the stream. Man, I don't know. It just feels crazy. Oh. All right. You will soon be here forever. Don't say stuff like that. Don't say stuff like that. No. Here, you want the link? I already posted it. I just made it right now. Again, fully theory crafted. No idea if it's going to work, but it should work. Have a great night, everybody. I will see you tomorrow morning in 16 hours for Season 3 launch of Beneath Ancient Skies. And maybe we've got maybe we got some surprises to kick off stream. Bye!